Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night, the start of a brand new week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Starting things off with the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series Season 6 Race 4 Richmond Raceway for the start of a very tough 4-week stretch that these drivers are heading into, where it's short track or short track type style racing, meaning this could be the start of some very grumpy drivers if tonight doesn't go well. And it doesn't help that it's during the daytime, the track is hot, it's going to be slick, and everyone's trying to hold on tight. It's going to be a fun one for us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth, like always, is Zach Hall. And Zach, tonight, a lot of unknowns because we've got a lot of drivers that we haven't seen for a while coming back. We even have more returning drivers entering into tonight's race.
That we do, Sam. A lot of nostalgia coming up tonight for sure, with some names coming back in, such as the likes of Thomas Green and Jared Talmadge. I'm sure we'll have to talk about those guys a few, because in the past they've been very, very quick drivers. So I'm expecting them to come back, and you never know, they might have even grown as drivers. So it's interesting to see where they're going to stack up against this field, because we've seen so far in these first opening weeks here back at ISRC, it has been a stacked house.
It has been a stacked house. It's been a pleasure to see this field coming together the way that they have, as again, this is race number 4. The first 3 races, we've had 3 different winners. Let's see if we can get our 4th different winner as we go down to trackside and get ourselves prepared for qualifying. 4 minutes is left on the clock, but these drivers were given a total of 5 minutes to put down their fastest time, and they have 2 laps to do so. They touch the wall, get in the grass, that will invalidate their lap time. So everyone's gonna have to stay clean and green out there on course, as currently it's Ryan Ferraro, fastest time for the 34 machine, but everyone else searching for the top of the board.
Anthony Gaudio is fastest in practice. He jumps up to the top spot there. So the 3 machine looking quick here in the early goings, but I expect those second laps to be the quick ones, Sam. We'll see where the pickup is for these drivers, as, like you said before, hot and slick day here at Richmond. It's going to be a tough time finding the grip and the speed.
Talking about nostalgia, I mean, the first 2 seasons, it was Anthony Gaudio, who back in season 2 got the pole, led the most laps, and got himself a victory lane. Vincent Sora raced here back in season 1. He got the pole, led the most laps, but didn't win the race. The 15th trying to carry on with his tradition from season 1. But Anthony Gaudio looking quick. This is going to be fun to see the drivers that have stepped up their game coming into tonight's race. And as well, we have last season's winner, Ali Fonseca, out on track, going to be currently 5th on the board. As a few other drivers I haven't seen for a while out on course. It's the 06, LeVar Scott, back out there on track. Good to see some drivers that have missed out the last couple of weeks able to come back out, as well as, like we said, newcomers / old faces of Thomas Green and Talmadge out on course in the 10 in the 00. As the 06 machine of LeVar Scott taking it easy here for lap number 1, setting up for lap number 2, where drivers have found a lot more of their speed.
Lap 2 has seemed to be the fast way, but a few guys did find their speed on the first lap. We'll see where LeVar Scott finds it on his laps here, as the 06 continuing to put through his lap times. We'll see if he can find some pickup on the second one, because he's going to need it.
Need a little bit of help. Invalidated first lap was the 06. Hoping this second lap's going to count. Not the fastest driver during practice time. Going to hit the outside wall, so both laps will be invalidated. LeVar Scott will be starting at the back of the line. Actually, take it back. That lap will count. Just a little bit of a scrub. 23rd on the board for himself. Cedric Hunter, another driver that can be quick at the shorter courses that we head towards. Taking a very wide approach. This is that setup lap for lap number 1.
Like you said, a setup lap there, taking that outside line. See a 22.99 for that first lap, and that's mostly due to taking that wide outer line, trying to build the most speed up heading into turn 1. Good turn 1 and 2, it looks like, for him. We'll see if the speed is there, but from the line wise, looking very strong from the 7.
as Cedric Hunter, 27th on the board for that first lap. Second lap, hoping for a little bit more of a pickup. And it looks to be a slight one. 22.5 looks to be the time, and that will crack the 7 in 7th place currently. As we've got a couple of more drivers hoping to put down a time here late as a minute's left in qualifying. Justin Campbell coming into the night, one of the top drivers so far this season, had a very strong first and second race of the season. Comes into tonight tied with 6th on the board in points, hoping to get some more good finishes is this 9 machine. Campbell has shown well, thinking back to their debut race at Martinsville last season, was up front that whole entire time around, hoping for the short track runs to continue forward for Campbell here, who stays high and once again building up for this second lap.
Like I said, building up for that second lap, it was a 22.815 from the first time by. It's going to put him 25th on the board, just behind Thomas Green in the 00 machine. But this time here, good exit out of 2 there, was very good on the line through the center of the corner, like carried a good bit of speed. Down here 3 and 4, a little bit up off the corner, but on the exit is able to get to that yellow line and get a nice drive off the corner to put him up. Wow, pretty good lap there. It's going to put him all the way up the 4th.
Solid lap by the 9 machine, Justin Campbell, but not fast enough to beat the Season 1 champ of Vincent Sora and a winner of last week's race at Watkins Glen. Vincent Sora's going to love that pole position for the 15 machine, but what else will Anthony Gaudio, Cody Reed, both within 300ths of a second of the 15. I got to say, this race is looking like it's going to be a fun one as the drivers now enter into a 5-minute warm-up time to kind of get a little bit more practice, and it gives us time to look at how this season's been going for these drivers as we take a look at our point standings coming into tonight's race, as these drivers have had a pretty solid season when you look at the point standings into tonight. Vincent Sora, like we said, winner from last week, has moved up into the top spot of points, but everyone's cycling and circling around to Travis Everett and Dakota Moniz. That's the battle going on currently for that 16th position on who's in or out of the playoffs.
And that battle's going to rage on for a lot of the season, Sam. I mean, we're just getting going here in Season 6. We got 3 races down, 4th race here tonight, and the stretch of races we got coming up. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of change up here with Richmond, Phoenix, Milwaukee Mile, and the gateway for our next 4 races. It's definitely the meat and potatoes, you could say, of the schedule, because it's going to be wild to see how the points change throughout that time.
And also down in 30th, that's where we find Cedric Hunter. And Cedric, we know, came in last week hoping to make a surge to make the playoffs as well. Now with seeing Thomas Green and Jared Talmadge, 2 other drivers that we know have the speed and the capability to make the playoffs. This is going to be a fun battle of going through the regular season on who's going to be making it in or out. And speaking about the regular season, let's take a look at how this regular season is going to be moving forward from here on out, as we've got ourselves, like you said, tonight is Richmond, but we got Phoenix, Legacy Phoenix next week, then the Milwaukee Mile. The drivers then will take a week off to resettle before they come back for April 1st at Gateway. That track's going to be a tough one. We've seen it be a tough one in the past. Then they have Charlotte, Pocono, Lime Rock to finish out the regular season, the 11th race of the season. Las Vegas, known for a lot of troubles. And curious how this field's going to hold on once we get to that last race of the regular season.
It's going to be a fun ride all the way up to the end of that regular season. Like I said, the next 4 races, cross your fingers for a lot of these guys. They're going to be hoping to survive and get through at least with some decent points that sets them up for that run to Las Vegas to see who's going to be in those playoffs fighting for a championship once again here in Season 6 of ISRC.
Fighting and clawing and hoping for the best. Well, we have a brand new segment for you here with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in our warm-ups. Let's take a look at our pick'ems. We are actually going to be picking who we think could be possibly winning here tonight. Made these picks during the practice, so we thought maybe some of these drivers would give us a hint of where they could potentially be finishing. I went with a little bit of maybe a stretch, but also I thought it was a strong one. Danny Cochran's going to be my pick to come out with the win here tonight. Was 3rd fastest during the practice session, qualified 13th. I'm curious, Zach, if that's going to be a little bit of a troublesome spot for Danny. That's deep in the field here tonight, but I thought based off that practice time, he was going to be a quick driver. That's going to be my pick on who's going to be winning here tonight. Who's your pick that you have for winning here tonight, Zach?
Well, I tell you, it was tough. This is such a tough field here. So many different names. I mean, one of them that stood out to me was Anthony Gaudio in the 3. I almost went with him, but my gut tells me I think we're going to see back-to-back winning here tonight. I think the 15 of Vincent Sora is going to get entered back into victory lane here and do what he couldn't do in Season 1 here at ISRC at Richmond.
Vincent Sora's a strong pick. I think he's probably the favorite one to go with. And Robert Moyer Jr., a producer, also going with the pick, and he's going with the super underdogs. You don't usually get these picks, but he's going to go with Travis Everett. We talked about how he's on the bubble line. Well, that's going to be Robert Moyer's underdog pick on who's going to win here tonight. An extreme underdog, but Zach here at Richmond, with the amount of cautions we've seen in the past, I don't think that's the worst pick in the world.
I really can't knock it too much. I've seen Travis in the past. He's a very experienced driver, and he's known to work his way up through the field. So starting back in 15th from what I'm looking at right now, when we get, this all gridded up, it's an underdog pick for sure. We haven't seen him perform here at ISRC, but I think in the future you're going to see that 13 definitely make some moves here throughout the season with the schedule we got.
Well, that's going to be our pick'ems for tonight. Who's going to get the win? Well, could it be Danny? Could it be Vincent Sora? Or could it be the extreme underdog pick of Travis Everett? We'll find out here shortly. 30 seconds left in the warm-up for tonight's race. Richmond, 200 laps for tonight's race. We will have a stage break at the end of lap 50. No fast repair, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. Certainly should be a good one. Do want to give a quick shout out. We'll talk about these sponsors more, but a big shout out to Lariat Productions for being the title sponsor, as well to Hot Lap Threads for being our qualifying grid sponsor, and Morecast for being our stage winner sponsor for helping out here in the ISRC Truck Series all season long. Well, warm-up session's about to be closed. We already got finished with qualifying and practice. The only thing that's left is the race here tonight. It's going to be a hot one for these drivers. Can they hold on for 200 laps? We'll have to find out here very shortly as the drivers grid up for the Hot Lap Threads qualifying grid sponsor. I want to say thank you to Hot Lap Threads. Remember to go to hotlapthreads.com to go check out your racing apparel for racing lifestyle, tees, hoodies, hot hats, and more. Go to Hot Lap Threads today. You're taking your Hot Lap Threads qualifying grid pole award. Give it to the 15 of Vincent Sora. Quick here tonight, hoping for it to continue on. Anthony Gaudio, Season 2 winner. He was fast back then. Hoping to bring back a little bit of that vintage speed here this evening. Cody Reed was also very quick last week. The 25 going to be starting in 3rd, with Justin Campbell in 4th. Mason Cassidy, 5th position. Ollie Fonseca, the last driver to win here at Richmond, going to be starting back in 6th place. Nick Crawford in 7th. 7 Machine at Cedric Hunter going to be starting in 8th. Christopher Norris starting in 9th. And finishing out our top 10, it's the 11 of John Forbes.
Returner to the league, starting in 11th position. It's going to be the 10 of Jarrett Talmadge. 12th is going to go to the 51 of Matthew Greathouse. 13th position going to be held by Danny Cochran, with 14th going to Malik Kuntz. 15th position, it's going to be the 13 of Travis Everett, with his teammate Curtis Preston alongside in the 16th position. 17th is going to go to the 8 of Noah Steele, with the 34 of Ryan Ferrara starting alongside in 18th. And 19th, it's going to be the 6 of Justin Smith, with GT Irizarry rounding out our top 20.
In 21st, we find the 16 Machine of Joshua Kanata. 22nd, it's the 91 of Mark Morales Jr. 23rd spot, it's the 01 of Aaron Krolick. Samuel Garcia will be moving up to 24th for the 50 Machine. They're coming back for another season. Hasn't been here since season 3. It's the 00 of Thomas Green. In 25th place, Mark Beverly in 26th. 27th is we find Justin Malarkey. LeVar Scott down in 28th position for the 06. And Tyler Dangler in 29th. And finishing out our top 30 will be Jesse Thornock. Finishing out the last couple of drivers, going to be the 5 Machine of Dakota Moniz in 31st. 32nd is the 26 of Tyler Horn. Cody Williams going to be in the 33rd position for the 33. With Joshua Freed in 34th. And the last driver out there on track at a 35, it's Max Cost in the 63. Decided not to qualify. It's going to be Max Cost and a few other drivers taking it easy. Also, Malik Kuntz going to be starting out tonight's race with an EOL. So the 98 Machine will drop to the back. But Zach, about to be getting green. 200 laps. It's going to be a grueler for these drivers here tonight.
Definitely a grueler, Sam. When I saw 200 laps, I was like, man, these guys are going to be worn out after this, especially with the conditions that we're seeing right here. Look at this bright sunlight all out here on this racetrack. This place is very, very low grip when it comes to the daytime racing. As you can see, we actually pop our weather up here. As we got 78 degrees air temperature and a 120 degree track temperature. I expect that to climb as the day goes on, with these cars putting more and more heat into that racing surface.
Wind staying at a stable 2 miles per hour, so wind should not be a factor, but it's that track temp that we're most concerned about. How are the drivers going to be able to stay on track for tonight's race? Because that slipping and sliding off the exit turn 4 can be tricky. The exit turn 2, also a very tricky spot for these drivers. But the braking points, the entry of these corners, Zach, that's also a tough spot for these drivers that they have to deal with how many drivers are out there on track.
They really do, Sam. And where's the trickiest is right here where we're seeing it. Is this D-shaped front of the oval here going into 1 and 2. It really opens up that entry to the corner, and these trucks actually will tend to be a little bit free there and actually want to over rotate and spin out on entry usually there. So right here early on cold tires, that's going to be where I'm watching for maybe the first incident of the night, is getting down into 1, because they can quickly step out the rear end on you and you can be into that driver right in front of you.
Well, thank you very much for everyone that's joining with us here tonight on your Monday night. Pace car pulls off into pit road. We enter the restart zone. Race number 4 at Richmond is underway for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series as Vincent Sora roars down into turn number 1. It's the battle for second. Anthony Gaudio, Cody Reed side by side, and the 3 continues to fall backwards.
Side by side, like you said, in the 3 there, not enough drive off of 2 there to make the move, but now he almost tried to take the crossover to the inside of the 25, but luckily he's able to hold on to 17, but he's going to get passed by the 9 of Campbell, who takes advantage of the 3 and immediately moves up to the top 3 positions.
Making some big moves as everyone taking advantage of Anthony Gaudio, just poor positioning for the 3, and he just cannot catch his breath with everyone just hunting and hounding behind the 3 machine. The rest of the field side by side, some trying to go 3 wide down into turn number 3, but up front it's single file for our top 3 drivers, side by side for 4th as Gaudio as well as Mason Cassidy battling against one another. This is another great qualifying run by the 17 of Cassidy, but where will the 17 fall as the long runs where he's been struggling?
That is very much the key. Will you use your tires up here trying to go forward here early? It's going to be the big question. Or will track position be that much of a factor? You know, in my experience at this racetrack here, especially in these trucks with the lower horsepower, higher downforce configuration that they have, these things are very, very difficult to drive in traffic. So when you're tucked up behind someone like Nick Crawford is here, behind the likes of Cassidy, who jumps in front of the 3 here, and Gaudio, who continues to drop backwards, it is so tough to follow just with the dirty air that I don't know if what Gaudio is doing, maybe saving a little tire here, could come back and even help him, Sam, because it's just tough to pass.
Tough to pass, it's tough to make some moves, and now going to be seeing our Season 4 champ trying to make a pass on Anthony Gaudio, 74 of Nick Crawford. Quick, fast, and always kind of sneaky quick at these short tracks is that 74 machine, trying to set up a move to get by the 3, as well as Ali Fonseca in the 24. Last driver to win here last season. Just led 50 laps of 200. It was Mark Whitley that really dominated, getting the pole, leading the most laps. It was the 24 late in the race that snuck away with the victory. And trying to go with another sneaky victory if possible here tonight, as drivers are wiggling, bobbling, and it's the 3 really putting on pressure of Gaudio on these drivers around him.
I think Gaudio wants to get down to that bottom, Sam, but the tough thing for him is when he's done it, he's got put in the position with the truck immediately to his outside once again. So this 3 from the second starting position dropped back now to 7th. And I mean, he's fallen into the clutches of maybe even falling outside of his top 10. We'll see if there's a benefit from it for losing all these positions, but in my ideal situation, I don't think this is going to be a benefit from the 3 as we ride on board here with the 11 of Forbes, who's trying to work his way forward.
Losing a lot of times has been the 3 of Anthony Gaudio. Other drivers deep in the field, Ryan Ferraro has lost over 7 positions, and Malik Kuntz gave up a lot of spots because he had to deal with an EOL penalty to start the race off. Other drivers have been moving forward, and the 11 of John Forbes only up 1 position, but trying to make it 2 if he can make this clearance on Cedric Hunter, not able to. Instead, it's the pressure of the 2 machine. Danny Cochran all trying to continue his way forward.
Cochran trying to make his way forward, like I said, didn't have the greatest qualifying run there in 13th, but this too, he's raced good at these short tracks before, such the likes of Phoenix and you know, others that are comparable in Richmond in my opinion. So I see this 2 machine moving forward as the night goes on, and especially, you know, with the likes of his teammates, the 7 here of Cedric Hunter. I think these 2 could be ones that go forward and try to go up there and help their teammate Vincent Sora try to get a better finish for the overall team.
Trying to move forward, still in line, majority of the field. Vincent Sora continues to charge forward over a half second above Justin Campbell in second place. Talking about other battles, though, in the middle of the field, here's Joshua Kanata dealing with the 6 of Justin Smith, as well as Mark Morales, and seeing the 00 of Thomas Green, excuse me, being involved in this race back here, and getting to see the drivers that at one moment back in season 2, some real threats at every race we went to was Thomas Green and Jared Talmadge, and kind of a shock to see Green this far back, but again, these drivers just signed up today and yesterday to start racing again in the ISRC Truck Series.
You know, it's going to take a little time of filling out process for them for sure, and you know, they might even, there's so many different cars and oval service, you know, with the service on iRacing, you know, the oval cars, there's so much availability to it that maybe they haven't been racing the trucks. Sometimes you're a little bit rusty in certain vehicles. You join back to a league, it's going to take a little bit of time, but he made a good clean pass there on the outside of Morales, as I think Martin had a little contact off of 2 that allowed Thomas Green now to break into that top 20, and I expect that 00 to get better as the night goes on. He's been a driver that has been very, very good at these style tracks.
Currently, Thomas Green up 5 positions from where they qualified back in 25th place, as Mark Morales in the 91 settles in 21st position. As we move forward into the back, just outside of the top 10, we find the battling between Jared Talmadge, Christopher Norris, and the 51, and Matthew Greathouse. As Greathouse is trying to close in on Christopher Norris, who's seeing some drivers already finding some trouble with the outside wall here in the first 14 laps of tonight's race. Again, that heat in the track, these tires, if you're not careful, get yourself in trouble really quick. And Zach, with also the thought of the stage break at the end of lap 50, these drivers don't have a lot of time if you want to advance forward and crack that top 10.
They really don't, Sam. You got to get on the move for sure. I mean, we already got 15 laps right there in the books. I mean, we're 10 away from being halfway through the stage, so it just shows you how fast things happen. As Greathouse had to cover off a look from the 8, and Noah still there heading into the 3. But one thing I've been watching, Sam, is this track temp continues to climb. We started out the track at about 120 degrees when we were pacing there. Now look at that thing front stairs we got up on screen, 127. So we've gained 7 degrees since we went green, and that is all due to these trucks. Has nothing to do with the weather. The weather is static here tonight. It is going to stay the same when it comes to air temperature, wind, all of that. This is all just due to the trucks putting heat into the racetrack.
Yeah, I know there's a little bit of complication setting up the session for today's race. So the admins were just quick to just get a session up that was practically just stable for these drivers. But that track temp, if it gets climbed higher and higher into the 130 markers, I don't know how they're going to have to deal with this once they get fresh rubber, maybe green flag pit stops later on. It's just going to get tougher as the night progresses, as the field, some of them were wishing the race was under the nighttime, cooler temperatures so they can protect their tire wear. It's going to be all about salvaging what you've got throughout the night, as we see the drivers inside of our top 10 battling with one another. Danny Cochran in that 10th place spot, having the 10 machine right behind him, but also the 2 of Danny Cochran trying to put pressure on the 11 of John Forbes.
Trying to put that pressure on who Forbes also has been putting the pressure on Cedric Runner ahead. So you see the 2 here jump to the outside of the 11. Let's see if he can use this. And you know, part of the dynamic track updates that we've got here at iRacing, that bottom line should be getting a little bit hot here with all these drivers electing to run down there. And look at this, the top side looking very, very strong. There's the 2 and the 10 of Jared Talmadge. Great run off the exit. Now this is going to open up the door for the 2 to get to his outside of his teammate.
Trying to get to the outside of Cedric Hunter. It looks like it will work out for now, but how much risk and reward is really worth? But that is impressive power that Danny Cochran showing. And, you know, seeing the outside row being utilized, that second groove, third groove, we've seen it work through 3 and 4 in the past, but 1 and 2, that is not a normal place that you want to be in that second groove. Usually you want to drop to the bottom immediately, but it worked out for the 2 and the 10. They are moving forward.
Great job by both of them. I mean, Talmadge saw the 2 of Danny Cochran do it. He says, you know what, that looked pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing. And, you know, it's interesting to see, you know, how hard did they push their tires? How did they overheat them trying to do that? But in my book, they gained track position there. They passed 2 trucks that now those trucks are going to pass them back later before the stage ends. That's a task that's very difficult once the tires get older.
And how much of that knowledge can you carry forward into later in this race? Again, this first stage, a lot of information being grappled and brought in. How do you want to race, you know, later on tonight as this race progresses, and seeing how that outside lane is usable. Going to be some big things to carry forward as we look forward inside of our top 3. Here's 3rd place runner Cody Reed trying to find a way to close back in and getting back in touch with Justin Campbell, who's been slowly trying to pull away. They've been keeping it pretty close between the 9 and the 25 as Vincent Sora continues to pull out almost a 2-second lead.
Vincent Sora is in a different zip code, Sam. I've been watching lap times. He's about 2/10 quicker than anybody on the track. And it's been like that for really about the past 5 or 7 laps. He's really been opening that gap up to that 9 machine. Here's the 25. Reed looks to be a little bit quicker than Campbell. He's about 200s quicker that last time by. We'll see if he can close that gap down because he's got a little bit of wiggle room behind him with Cassidy and his teammate Nick Crawford back there in 5th. So right now, Reed definitely focusing forward, is continuing to gain time on that 9.
As we are about to cross over halfway through the stage. Again, the stage break will be at the end of lap 50. Top 10 drivers will get bonus points. Winner of the stage gets 10 bonus points. Second gets 9. Third gets 8. Continues to drop down by 1 point until we get to 10th place where they just get 1 bonus point. A little bit of a shimmy there from the 6th, though. Justin Smith not comfortable off the exit turn 2. But with the drivers getting to this halfway point, I'm looking at the field, how spread out they've gotten. And Dakota Moniz, last driver in line here tonight. About 13 seconds back, we could be seeing Zach lap traffic into the end of the stage. We continue to stay green.
Yeah, we could, with the gap that has grown there about halfway. Yeah, Vincent Sora could get in the lap traffic, and I expect him to at some point because he's about 4/10 quicker than a lot of these guys farther back in the field. So that time continues to click down, and I think it'll get worse for a lot of these drivers back here who are stuck in traffic, trying to move their way forward here. Is actually checking out Travis Everett here. Now he's got the likes of Thomas Green here up to 19th, right behind him. The 13 been trying to go forward, but it's been a little bit going backwards here. Is now looking to the inside of Kanata.
Trying to get underneath Joshua Kanata is in 13. And Travis Everett, our producer, our warrior, picking the 13. Be our underdog pick and winner for tonight's race. Got a lot of work to get up there, but now being pressured by the 00 of Thomas Green. Green thinking about setting up this pass, but it looks to be a lot more of a setup on the exit of the corner instead of the entry. Here's Zach, which kind of used to be the opposite of how these drivers would attack in the past.
It really is. It kind of depends on the setup. Sometimes you're able to, set up those passes, so to say, on corner entry versus corner exit. The lower power in these trucks, it seems like corner entry might be where tonight, where these guys are able to set things up. But always, if you can get that good run off corner exit, it always allows you to do a little bit, of an easier pass here. As we're checking out Christopher Norris right now, who's right behind his teammate John Forbes here in the 12th position.
Battling for 12th, Christopher Norris, as he continues to try to march forward. As we also get to see Christopher Norris trying to find his way, any way forward right now, really focused in his driver cam. And I'm not surprised. This track's so small, you got to react quickly. It's a less than a mile in length, 3/4 of a mile for these drivers. And Zach, it always feels like you are constantly throttle brake when you're here, at least from my sensation when I'm in the track. But I'd imagine these drivers thinking a lot more than just throttle brake throughout this racetrack.
It's a tough track, Sam. This place, especially when the track temp is as high as it is. This is personally when I feel like Richmond is at its best, when it's very, very low grip. And that's what it seems to be tonight, is we're riding on board still with Christopher Norris. Got a few guys up ahead of him here who are slipping and sliding. I'd say is Gaudio in that 3 qualified second. At one point was trying to pass Ali Fonseca for the 6th position. Now he's slipped back, and now he's under the threat of Cedric Hunter in the 7 machine. So drivers just showing that if you try to make the pass on the bottom and you don't have the grip going off the exit, it can sometimes set you up for failure to go backwards.
It looks a lot more of a confidence level also. Those that feel confident that they want to go forward are willing to place their trucks in positions to pass, and those passes are working out either because they've got the speed or the drivers around them are just saying, you know what, go. Maybe I'll catch back up to you later on in this stint. As once again, Jared Talmadge, Danny Cochran advance forward, and there is zero worries for the 2 and the 10, which it looks like Jared Talmadge is willing to follow in the tire tracks of this 2. Now they're 7 seconds off of Vincent Sora, but they'll take the track position, moving up to 7th and 6th after starting back in 11th and 13th.
They definitely will. And lap time wise, right now, were the closest thing to our leader of Vincent Sora. So looking very, very strong as Vincent Sora. Again, 2, 3 tenths, even almost 4 tenths faster than some guys that are directly behind them. But this 2 and this 10 here looking very, very strong as this run goes on. They may be the ones to contend with later.
As we look at other drivers that are trying to find their way to catch up to Vincent Sora, second place runner Justin Campbell was able to pull away just slightly from Cody Reed. Now the gap up to a second difference between the 9 and the 25. As here's a little good visible difference. There's Vincent Sora, and then just coming out of the corner was Justin Campbell. Those drivers, that is the difference of 4 seconds between one another here at Richmond.
Yeah, this is a big gap right here for this 15, and quite the statement, I would say, here to start this race off. And I talked to him before the race, got a little insight from him just to hear what his thoughts were about things, as I talked to a few others also. And the big thing that I heard throughout the field is actually, I think we got Anthony Gaudio having major issues, guys. I see him drop through the field. He's actually backing up in the grass right now, so surprised to see we're still green.
He found himself breaking loose next to Ollie Fonseca, slid through the grass, and Anthony Gaudio going to be passed by our leader. And now we're going to be having a caution, and it's drivers in front of our leader, Jesse Thornock, as well as Max Kost, getting into one another right in front of Vincent Sora.
Very, very close for Vincent Sora, who came to the scene of that crime there late into that picture. And that was definitely a scary moment. He had the lap truck of Anthony Gaudio there also. So Vincent Sora had things happen very quickly in front of him. But caution here, Sam, and a very interesting timing for this caution here. It's going to be, I think, a lot of tire changes as we're going to go back and look at this weekend.
There are about 3 or 4 different incidences that happen here. This is going to be a reactional slide. Watch out for the 34, Ryan Ferraro, going to be on the entry of turn 1. Going to lock up the brakes, and then that spooks that's Jesse Thornock. Max Kost gets the bumper, slides in front of the 20, a little slight T-bone, and then flying in here late, you're going to see the 3 as well as the 15 split in the gaps and continuing their way forward, and that will bring out our first caution of the day.
Very, very close there for sure. I know Vince Sora probably a little scared from that all that action, but looks like pit road getting pretty busy here, Sam, with a few takers here, and I'm not surprised to see that with those tire wear. But it looks like we also had some takers of people staying out.
Staying out looks to be Cody Reed, John Forbes staying out for themselves, Christopher Norris, GT Irizarry, the 4 of Curtis Preston, quite a few others, also Travis Everett, Justin Malarkey staying out. So that's 7 drivers going with the option. And actually, this isn't the worst decision in the world, because when we get back to green flag racing, it's going to be about 6 laps. They could slow down the field for a couple of laps. They might have a chance to get a net gain of some sort. Now for Cody Reed and John Forbes, I think they might have a net loss here with the amount of traffic that's going to be blasting by with fresh rubber. But if you're GT Irizarry, Curtis Preston, or Travis Everett, this is a great net gain of staying out and trusting that you can keep some positions and maybe get a stage bonus points once we get to the end of lap 50 here.
Yeah, and this could get pretty wild. So we could have a few cautions that could help out these guys on older tires. So big gamble right now. And I mean, at the end of the day, if we get a bunch of cautions later and they have the extra sets of tires, it could be the winning strategy for them to have the extra sets, because we did have a decent bit of fall off there, Sam. I mean, we took off there with our leader, Vince Sora, at 22.71. Right there before all that happened, he was down to a 24.0. So we were looking at over a second, almost a second and a half of fall off there. So definitely a lot of speed drop off. But I think also with this caution laps here, you should see these guys up front here have a little bit more speed in those cars to take off. But as they heat up, that's where the new tires will really take advantage.
How many laps will they be able to hold off, or can they just hoping for this front group? Again, if we do get to lap 45, between lap 45 to 50, if there's a caution in between that zone, that would also count as our stage break. So these drivers know, hey, maybe our goal isn't to get to 50. It's just to get to 45, 46, and then hope that they start wrecking behind so you can keep your position for when the stage break yellow potentially could be coming out a little bit earlier. But Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell, Mason Gass is going to be starting back in 8th, 9th, and 10th place. Everyone else in our top 7, fresh rubber was not the call, deciding to stay out as we get ourselves ready for this restart. Thank you again for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Just at our first caution inside of our first stage of racing action here tonight at Richmond. This is our 4th race of the season on Monday night for the ISRC Truck Series. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. Want to give a huge thank you to Lariat Productions, Hot Lap Threads, and Morecast for being the major sponsors helping out here at the ISRC Billy Art Productions Truck Series. Cody Reed, John Forbes up front. We'll see if they can hold on. This is going to be a tough task, but again, high risk. How much of a high reward will there be for these drivers if they can survive, as we're about to be starting lap 44? If we get a caution in between lap 45 and 50, that will count as our stage. But if we don't get a caution at that point, it's the end of lap 50 that our stage yellow will be thrown. Cody Reed, top four, get a good launch as Cody Reed, John Forbes going to be your front drivers as they roar down into turn number 1.
Snowy Desert Racing here, the first 3 spots right now. We'll see how well their tires can fire off, because right now Nick Crawford wrecking, and so is Danny Cochran. There's a wreck in the middle pack of the field.
It's almost gridlock, gets a pile up down on the inside of the backstretch. Everyone's trying to move up. That's over 8 drivers collected into this one, and they did not get to lap 45. We will have another restart before the stage is done.
I tell you, Vincent Sora only up to 8th first set on tires, so not much ground gained here as we're going to see how this all happened. And I think it initially started with a little bit of contact from Danny Cochran to the back of Nick Crawford, who was stacked up behind the 9 of Justin Campbell. But I think you're going to see here Matthew Greathouse a little bit farther behind this incident. As you can see, there's a contact that sent the 2 around, but it was the contact initially from the 2 to the 74 that really caused a bit major stack up.
Major stack up for the field as they were trying to get through. No one with required damage as we take another look at this, and seeing the 2, Danny Cochran just gas it up. Little taps here and there, and everyone goes spinning and sliding. Talmadge gets through, but everyone else, they start piling in, trying to muscle their way by. Eric Kralik just somehow trying to scave his way through. And it looks to be Malik Kuntz there in the purple and black. Gets tapped by Danny Cochran, and there's the gridlock of 3 drivers just sitting at the inside wall.
Some very, very fast trucks there, the 74 and the 7, the 2. All of those drivers were looking to go forward on that last race run. Shows you just a little bit of strategy like that can go the wrong way for you, and you can get stuck in the middle of the field with a stack up like that. And next thing you know, you're involved in an incident and having to repair your truck, and now that track position that you were trying to gain from, not the greatest qualifying spots they would have liked for, now just got doubled.
And it looks like this is going to be a kind of a green-white checkered, you could say, for this stage, as Vincent Sora only able to advance 1 position from 8th to 7th. Getting ready for this restart, and the field waiting for those pace car lights to go off. That will be the one to go indicator. And we'll see how this race for the stage bonus points are going to line up. But for Cody Reed and all of the Snowy Desert drivers, that's exactly what they needed. They needed that quick yellow, and it gives them a chance to stay up front.
I think this is set them up for a stage victory. I don't know if Vincent Sora is going to have enough time to get through all of these trucks to get to the likes of Cody Reed with, really here, like you said, it's going to be pretty much like a green-white checkered here. It's only going to be 2 laps to battle this to the end of the stage. I think this is set up perfect for the likes of Cody Reed.
Cody Reed, Christopher Norris, as well as John Force, GT Rosari, Curtis Preston, Travis Everett, and Justin Malarkey in 8th. Those are the 7 drivers that decided not to pit under our first caution back on lap 40. And it has been working out perfectly for them. Currently, they're trying to stay inside of the top 10, get those stage bonus points. As if we get a caution before the end of lap 50, that will be the stage. Otherwise, they're racing the end of lap 50. Yellow flag will be thrown. They'll wait for the reset as they are into the restart zone. We're back to green flag racing. Great launch for our top 6 as they roar down into turn number 1. It's all Cody Reed for now.
Reed with a good start here, but can his teammate of Norris come through? But the wrecking farther back, Talmadge is spun around.
Jared Talmadge spins. There's the yellow, and that will be your stage break for these drivers as everyone tries to slow down, get in line, and figure out how far ahead did Vincent Sora move up in the rest of the field, as I believe everyone that decided to stay out, Zach, all of them are going to be getting stage bonus points here.
That they are. Great call from all of those drivers. That was excellent timing for them, for those yellows. And where it all started was the 8 here of Noah Steele. Looks to the inside of Ali Fonseca here, and Fonseca going to block him, but I think makes contact to the noses. The 8's already there. 8 gets in the back of him, slides up the racetrack, and Jared Talmadge, minding his own business, gets involved with 2 other drivers, a little bit of incident.
And that block was for drivers that were just outside of the top 10. So that was a chance to go get stage bonus points, but ultimately no one's going to be able to grab those points that they wanted. Vincent Sora going to be, though, up front, as Cody Reed going to be your stage winner with the timing of that yellow. Congratulations, that 25 machine, but up front drivers going to be staying out because they already pitted, 10 laps ago. Not expecting them to make any pit stops, are those drivers, and so you take the risk of going for those stage bonus points. Well, all 7 of those drivers, they're going to be at the end of the line for this restart. Zach, that's going to be a tough loss for Cody Reed, Christopher Norris, John Forbes, and the rest of the field that decided to go for those stage bonus points.
I was sitting here saying, that's, it's smart, hey, get those bonus points. But now thinking about it, they didn't really get enough green flag laps to make where these other guys had to come down the pit road. Now they're going to be on pretty much even set of tires. I mean, we really did not use those tires much on these restarts. Barely anywhere is going to be a curve to the tires. So these drivers who now have cycled to the front, they're looking like they maybe have made the right call.
Well, let's go see if we can talk to our stage winner, our Morecast stage winner of Cody Reed, going to be all the way back at the end of the line in 23rd. Let's see if we can queue up that 25 machine. Cody Reed, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Cody, you took the risk. You've become the stage winner. How are you feeling out there on the track?
Kind of worried. I was really anticipating some more people to maybe stay out there to try to snag some stage points. We got like 7, I think. And I mean, I got my teammates here, but moving up through the field looks like a tall task. I'm not too confident about it. I put most of my practice, I didn't practice much this week, but I put most of that into like qualifying and just like speed. Have not run around people that often. So making my way through the pack here is going to be pretty tough, but hoping to make quick work of it. I know the tire difference isn't huge. I was honestly debating staying out another time, but my teammates told me not to. Because I felt decent at the end of the run there. But I don't know. We might have a long green flag on, so that probably would not have been the best call. Would have been an interesting one, though. But yeah, just looking to get that lead back, hopefully. Run down Vinny. He's really, really quick. I've heard some people are shifting down to 3rd. I'm not doing that. So that's some advice for anyone racing right now, listening to the broadcast. But maybe I could find some speed and catch Vinny and hopefully win this thing.
Well, we're hoping for the best for you, Cody. Congratulations on becoming the stage winner. We'll send you back to your team, and good luck on this restart, and good luck getting through this mess.
Yeah, thank you.
As that's going to be the Snowy Desert driver of Cody Reed, as they're going to be starting back in 23rd position. It's going to be tough outside of the top 20, but up front, Vincent Sora, Mason Cassidy going to be your front 2, Justin Campbell in 3rd, Ollie Fonseca in 4th. As the pace car pulls into pit road, it's time for us to get back to green flag racing. No more stage racing here tonight. It's all about victory lane as Vincent Sora is gone, taking off, but Campbell is right on that back bumper.
Like you said, Campbell on the back bumper, and actually going to look to the inside here. Sora slid up the track just a little bit, but closes the door on the exit, and the 9 slides back as the 15 starts to build the gap. With Cassidy holding on to 3rd, but it's Fonseca almost contact with Kanata.
As they exit out of turn number 4, slipping and sliding deeper in the field as Tyler Horn having trouble, and they're wrecking out of 4 as a couple of drivers piling in. But Tyler Horn getting the worst of it for the 26, and this is what Richmond can turn into. This is what has happened in the past, and cautions, building up and bringing out more cautions is well known here at this short track.
It is very known, Sam, that is for sure. We're going to see this 26 here coming off a 2, and looks like it's going to be the contact from the 34 here down in 3 and 4. That really sets this all up, but just hard racing. Looks like the 26 is going to close the doors. The 34 is kind of there.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. You're trying to make those bang moves of do I want to block or not, and pushing down Anthony Gaudio down into more drivers after the fact, and causing the field to bring out another yellow. But you're trying to make the aggressive move. If you're trying to defend a driver that's dive bombing you, but it's still early on. We're still just crossed over the first quarter of this race. and expecting drivers to get antsy. I know that seeing blocks in the first stage is kind of known, but at this point of the race, kind of expecting drivers maybe to give up a little bit more space between one another.
You would be. You would kind of think that, hey, like, we're going to back out of some of these situations, or, not try to close the door on somebody, or, put yourself in that situation this early in the event. But I think it comes down to those cautions. We see these quick little yellows that have happened multiple times, 3 times in a row now, and drivers start to get that feeling. They get that little bit of, it's that itch of, is this going to continue? I need to get positions now, because if this does, I can't pass while there's yellow flags. So the patient level goes out the window, and then that's when more incidents pile on top of each other.
Well, as we are closing in on 60 laps completed here tonight, let's give a quick shout out to our amazing sponsors here tonight, a little bit more detailed. Our title sponsor for the ISRC Truck Series is Lariat Productions. Lariat Productions is a great place to go watch reviews, comedy skits, and more on YouTube, as well as you can go check out Lariat Productions on Instagram to get your entertainment today. Thank you so much to Larry for all that he does to help out with the league here, as he helps out with racing team sponsors, racetrack sponsors, and as well helps being the title sponsor for the Truck Series. And a huge shout out to Hot Lap Threads. Hot Lap Threads, again, is our qualifying grid sponsor. If you're wanting to check out some of the best in Hot Lap Threads apparel, in hoodies, hats, t-shirts, and more in the racing lifestyle, go check out hotlapthreads.com today to get your apparel now. And also want to give a shout out to our stage winner sponsor of Morecast. Go head over to @Morecast on Instagram for a variety of NASCAR content, including diecast memes, iRacing, as well as if you go check out on their YouTube channel, you can see diecast reviews, NASCAR discussions, and more. Again, go check out @Morecast on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you to all the amazing sponsors that help out for the ISRC Truck Series. I know, Zach, sponsorships are always great to have to help out leagues and to enable these drivers to have us as their broadcast team, and as well help reward the drivers out there on track.
There's nothing better than it, Sam. The support from people outside of this thing is what makes it happen. It really comes down to that. And you got a lot of great supporters out there, such as the ones they have here at ISRC, and all spread out through the likes of iRacing. It's really cool to see people want to put their hand kind of in the fold here when it comes to sponsoring these ordeals. And it's cool to see what type of sponsors maybe we'll see pop up here at ISRC. But definitely a good group of them, and highly recommend checking out all of those folks. Got some really good stuff in the pipeline for you.
You certainly do. For tonight, thanks so much for joining with us on your Monday evening. 61 laps of 120 have been completed. Still 140 laps to go here tonight before we are done and dusted, as Vincent Sora has been the top dog to watch out for, but did not win the stage. Gives a gutsy calls and different strategy moves. Curious on if that's going to hurt the 15 later on tonight, but for now, up front, ready, prepared. As the pace car pulls into pit road, it's Justin Campbell, Vincent Sora. Who can keep the lead? Vincent Sora with the better launch, but Campbell keeps it to the outside quarter panel as they roar down into turn number 1.
Great start from Campbell once again on that outside line. He's actually able to get to the quarter panel of the 15, but off the corners where the 15 is excelling, he's able to clear that 9 machine. So no getting greedy for that 15 and getting back to the gas too soon to allow the good run from the 9. But he's got to fight here strong, because the 9 definitely being aggressive here early, trying to make sure he gets to that front, and he's going to look to the inside for the lead.
Justin Campbell down, bouncing to the inside row. Going to be side by side for the lead. Vincent Sora having his first challenge so far. Noah Steele gets sent to the outside wall, battling for 6th place, but they continue to be side by side for the lead, as Justin Campbell just could not get the exit out of turn number 2, keeping it to the quarter panel. No contact for now, and Sora pulls away, but the issues on a turn 4. It's Noah Steele having major issues for the 8 machine.
That it is. Noah Steele there. Losing out major for sure, and you can see the 9 still over the back bumper of the 15. Thought he was going to make contact down in the 1 with how close he was, but he is pushing the 15, knowing that if you just let him get out there and get away, he's probably going to drive away from you. I think this 9 knows this could be the battle for the win.
Battle for at least great positioning. You do not want to continue to give fresh air to the 15 of Vincent Sora. It's where he's been the strongest. You want to see what dealing with that dirty air, how's that going to influence the 15? Will it wear and tear those tires a little bit more? But Justin Campbell, still the back bumper. Will he use the front bumper to maybe loosen up the 15? Currently, there are no issues for now, but looking continuously strong is Vincent Sora for now.
Doing a great job to fight this off. This is tough when you have someone located right on your back deck lid, such as we're looking here. It makes you sometimes get a little anxious, a little bit, overzealous, getting back to that throttle. And that's what the job of the driver is trying to do behind you, is make you make those mistakes. But I think Vincent Sora, I've known this kid for a long time. He's solid as a rock sand when it comes to putting pressure on him. He is a very hard one to crack.
Continuing to stay strong and slowly, methodically pulling away as other drivers putting on some great shows. Here's battling of drivers just inside of our top 15. It's going to be the 50 of Samuel Gonzalez trying to get by Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine, as well as seeing Mark Beverly in the 97, Christopher Norris, and the 51 of Matthew Greathouse on top of one another. These drivers all trying to march forward as much as they can. Christopher Norris, again, part of the Cody Reed, John Forbes group that were back outside of the top 23. They're trying their best to move forward.
This is a hornet's nest right here. Everybody fighting tooth and nail, trying to gain back some track position that they've lost throughout the course of this event. And got to say, the 38's done a good job compared to Alexis teammates, John Forbes and Cody Reed. He's 2 positions ahead of them, so been able to navigate a little bit better. And right here, stuck behind this group, and he's going to try to get to the inside of this 97 of Mark Beverly to move forward.
And trouble in front of him. It's the 6, though. Justin Smith and LeVar Scott getting with one another. They were battling to see who was going to hold off for 7th place, and instead, it's going to be the 6 spun around through the grass, bringing out another quick caution.
This is unfortunate right here, too, because the 6 trying to save it off of 4. Gets a little bit of help to finish off the half spin that he had coming off of 4. So Justin Smith there with an unfortunate loss of track position, who's been having some good runs, man, lately. We've seen him getting better and better as time goes on. And right here, off of 3, you're going to see he's going to get back to the gas a little bit early, get sideways. And when he does, 06 is just going to clip the right rear of him and spin him around. And I don't know if the 06 thought he was going to just, get clear of that 6 before, as the 6 was kind of going down the racetrack, and thought he wouldn't hit him, but kind of just, finished him off right there.
Yeah, it was kind of looking like a lazy slide, and then got finished off. There was just really nowhere for LeVar Scott to go, and we're one of those racing incidences that you hate to see as the field gets to the decision time. Do you go into pit road or do you stay out? Majority of the drivers up front deciding to stay out on track, but for us, we've made our decision. I think we're going to take our first commercial break of the night, as you are 72 laps in the book here this evening at Richmond. Thank you so much again for joining with us. Here's your top 5 currently as we get ready for this restart. It's Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell, Mason Cassidy, Ollie Fonseca, and Joshua Kanata. Thank you once again. We'll be back right after this for more Richmond action for race number 4 of the season.
They're 5 wide behind her pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. Oh no, the corner gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trying to drive it down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked. They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28. And we are back to green flag racing here tonight. Vincent Sora, Justin Gamble leave the charge as they're spinning behind, and that looks to be the 10 of Jared Talmadge. Mark Beverly going to be caught up in that end as well. Just trouble continues to mark in the back as drivers know every position matters, but Zach, it looks to be the patience level still not there, and it's only going to get worse.
That's for sure. Patience level just not there, and I think there might have been a little bit of contact. Maybe GT or Zari getting in the back of that 97, and look at Jared Talmadge once again, innocent bystander completely. I mean, that's the second time now, Sam. He's been minding his own business up in the 3rd lane up there in 1 and 2, and just completely gets caught out by another truck spinning.
Yeah, and also seeing Anthony Gaudio kind of bouncing it 3 wide before they even crossed the line. So 3 Machine might be getting caught up with either a penalty at some point tonight or next week for Anthony Gaudio, as Field's going to go back to Pacing Simulator here this evening. And looking at past seasons of how this race has gone, back in season 1 and 2, there were a lot of cautions during those races. Season 1, there were a total of 9 cautions. Season 2, there were a total of 10. Last season, there were 6 total cautions for 200 laps. Here tonight, a little bit rougher on the edges, as we are inching just closer to lap 80 here this evening as they continue to pace. But this certainly makes things more interesting when you look at maybe the fuel stint. How's this going to affect when you want to come to pit road, as well as tires? Because we've got 3 different groupings. We've got our top, I would say, 15 drivers that pitted before the end of the stage break. Then we have drivers that pitted at our stage break, and then drivers that just pitted under our last caution. So a little bit of a difference there, but there hasn't been enough green flag laps really for there to be a major difference.
Exactly, Sam. I mean, this has been heat cycle after heat cycle for these tires, and I think any of the advantage that you had before for the likes of those guys who pitted at that stage break, I think that advantage is gone now by this timing, especially with the usage of the tires that we had before that were even not many green flag laps on the guys that didn't pit. So I think that little bit of advantage they had, that advantage might be completely gone. So those guys are going to have a hard time working their way forward. Just going to have to do it on raw pace, so to say. But they'll have their work cut out for them now.
How do you want to march your way forward here tonight as the laps continue to knock down? For this season, though, talked about how this upcoming stretch, this was the beginning of 4-race short track stint this field was getting prepared for. After tonight, next week, they head to Legacy Phoenix, and then after that, they head to the Milwaukee Mile before they take a week off that might be very needed after 3 short tracks in a row. They head to Worldwide Technology Raceway, otherwise known as Gateway. I mean, Zach, this stint, based off how tonight's race is going, this doesn't look like it's going to get any nicer moving forward into next week or even the week after.
Yeah. Does not bode well for situations, but it might bode well for us up here in the booth. That's the thing. It's going to give us a little bit of maybe some of that classic ISRC drama, as we know from the past, can show up every now and then, and that'll give us something interesting, I think, to talk about during this 4-week stretch. And, you know, short tracks is where you make enemies and you make a lot of people mad. So these next 4 weeks, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of it without, you know, some type of bump and run from somebody or a little bit of a scrape up. So definitely these next 4 weeks is going to be the place where you got to be on your P's and Q's if you don't want to make those enemies.
Certainly do. As update for other drivers in the back, we do have 2 drivers that are a lap down. Tyler Horn, 1 lap down, was not able to get back out on track before the pace car passed him. And Noah Steele, currently 8 laps down. Both still on track, but a lot of work needs to be done if they want to get back onto the lead lap, as we are back to green flag racing. Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell, your front runners as they go down to turn number 1. It's side by side for third on back. Can they survive the exit of turn 2 as Sora is clean? The rest of the field look good as well.
Looking very, very strong right now as Campbell thought for a second to look to the inside heading into 3. Took an outer line, kind of just a little bit more opening to the corner. Now going to look to the inside here on the D-shaped part of the track down into 1 and 2. Can Sora defend it like he did last time?
So we're trying to defend. There was contact exit turn 2 on that first lap back to green flag racing. Ryan Ferraro, major collision for the 34's front bumper. They continue to race on, but Ferraro does have required damage. Going to be forced into pit road here shortly, but cannot steer. This is going to be trouble with oncoming traffic trying to bear down on this 34, who is able to get to the apron as our front runners are just exiting 2 now.
I hope it turns here, Sam, because like you said, our front runners here coming down the back straightaway. Luckily, it seems like Ferraro is going to be able to keep it clean here, because here comes our leaders right by. If that car wouldn't have turned and went straight, you know, coming off the apron there, that could have been disaster for our leaders right here, who are stacked up on top of each other.
Stacked on top of one another and getting to see the battle back at it for Vincent Sora and Justin Campbell as they continue to go back and forth. Ollie Fonseca trying to get by Mason Cassidy. And again, Ollie Fonseca, winner of this race last season. That's 24. Wants to position himself in a spot where he didn't lead the most laps last season, but was in a position to set him up for a win late in the race. And it looks like the 24 trying to bring back a little bit of symmetry of what he did last season.
Very well could, man. I tell you what, he's done a good job to keep himself in position, and that's what a lot of times Richmond comes down to, is just putting yourself in that right position. You might not be the fastest, but if you can take advantage of the track position, the clean air you can get here, you got to be able to take hold of it. And that's what Ollie did here when we were last here. Got that clean air, held on to the lead from it ever since then, and won that race.
Dakota Moniz going to be under fire from the Snowy Desert Racing teammates of Christopher Norris, John Forbes. They've now both cracked into the top 15, moving together very well, as Christopher Norris kind of has been the spearhead, just moving drivers up and moving forward as one. As John Forbes trying to find his way to get by Samuel Gonzalez, as the 11 continues to ramp his way forward, as see his driver Cam, once again, not surprised, focus is the key to keep themselves on track and going forward.
Very key, Sam. That's the number one thing I tell people when it comes to sim racing. They want advice. It is, you got to have 100% focus. If you're out there lollygagging, thinking about what you're going to eat for dinner, thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow, you're not going to be able to hit your marks. It's all about 100% focus. Get yourself in the moment and feel like you're actually in that race truck to kind of, just lock in, as so to say. So Forbes looks like he's done it right now, trying to, like you said, follow his teammate through as they gain their track position back.
Trying to figure out how to get by Dakota Moniz, which Dakota trying to figure out if he wants to set up a pass on LeVar Scott for 11th place in the 5. Gets a little bit too antsy as they are putting a ton of pressure up front, but because of the chain reaction of checkups going into these corners, everyone behind the 11 of John Forbes is really having a scare every once in a while of they get too close, they got to back out of it. But right now it's the 50 and the 51 battling for 15th place. That's kind of being a wall right now, holding off the likes of Cody Reed, our stage winner.
Hard battling going on right here between the likes of these two, like you said, and it's stacked up everything with Cody Reed right here in the 25. And Reed, he's got to be a little bit, I think, frustrated probably, knowing that his teammates have, kind of gapped him here, put a couple trucks in between him. But looking patient right here, trying to follow this 51 through. Reed doing a good job of just not pushing the issue here and not trying to make a mistake near these trucks.
Cody Reed trying to push his way forward. Anthony Gaudio as well. Danny Cochran stuck in the back of this group, as well as Travis Everett, just trying to figure out how to get slot down and get your way moving forward, as this group battling about 5 seconds off of our leader of Vincent Sora, as we do have an update on Ryan Ferraro, who got caught up in that wreck on this most previous restart, and the 34 has pulled it into pit road and has called it a night for himself. Hate to see that for Ryan Ferraro, who had a decently strong truck here tonight. Was hoping for a good top 20, top 15 run. That will not be the case. 34th is the finishing position for Ryan Ferraro in that 34. As speaking of a 4, here's the 4. Curtis Preston on the outside, trying to go forward, but he's on the tail end of this pack that's been stuck side by side.
And he's got 2 of his teammates right there with him. He's got Travis Everett on his nose and GT Irizarry to the inside now, as Danny Cochran's going to take advantage of this stack up here. And it's kind of what we're seeing is just stack ups. And if you can't get the passes done, then you just stay side by side, and everybody gets so stacked up behind us. Now Irizarry going to dive to the inside up there ahead of these guys and try to move his way forward with the 3. Anthony Gaudio on his outside.
Patience is melting away as we are just about to cross over to the halfway part of this race. There's still plenty more racing action here this evening, but you can kind of get a sense of certain drivers, their racing style, showing signs of, I'm willing to use, a quarter panel, maybe a side panel if it's needed to make these moves. As 3 wide, Anthony Gaudio putting the pressure, going to be forcing the issue. Cody Reed to the outside wall, and he's going to hit the wall. Greyhouse, and they all stack up and piling in behind, as Gonzalez and others get a couple of spins around, couple of T-bones, and another caution is thrown for the field here tonight.
That right there, Sam, was kind of, we felt like that was going to happen there. I think we could both feel the energy it was happening as Gaudio dives it up there 3 wide up ahead of this group. That's where the initial checkup and all that's going to happen, but it's actually going to be contact farther back here with the 50. I think it turned from, I believe, off the 4's nose, or either the 6 or the 4 there, and that turned him down to the trucks below him.
Spun, tossed around, and drivers now going to have to figure out what they want to do on this restart, because it looks like pit stops are going to be the call for a lot of these drivers. We take another look at this incident and see what got Samuel Gonzalez spun around. He's got the 4 on his back bumper. As they exit the corner, see drivers scattering, spinning, and maybe locked it up and then got tapped. It's just a bizarre incident between those drivers.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it a little closer, Sam, and it looked like the 50 was slowing up a good bit for it. The 4, I don't know if Curtis Preston could see it as good as the 50. Didn't slow up as much, kind of just punted the 50 off the nose, and the 50 spun down the track into that inside wall from there. So tough break for Samuel Garcia, but he gets completely clobbered by Mark Beverly, like the last truck in the field. So, wow, that was actually a lot worse for the 50.
You always hope that maybe you can survive the carnage late, but sometimes you're just not able to. And Mark Beverly with that contact, now it's going to actually call it a race for the 97. So found a way to call it a night for himself. But for some of these drivers out there on track, Gutsy calls Justin Smith the only driver deciding to stay out on this restart. And a few drivers deciding to go with track position over 4 sets of tires. 2 tires going to be given by Nick Crawford, who's going to beat out Vincent Sora off of pit road, as well as Christopher Norris taking 2 sets of tires. John Forbes 2 tires. Danny Cochran topping off on fuel. And Cody Reed taking 2 tires to move up to 11th is the 25. So some separate different calls on how you want to move forward. And I think taking 2 tires, especially with the way that we've been seeing these runs progress, not the worst call in the world as we just about to hit the halfway marker.
I'd imagine the left sides are not wearing that bad either, Sam. So with the amount of green flag laps we really got there, I don't think it's going to be too bad for them. So probably not a bad call for those guys who, they really lost out on track position a ton with staying out of that stage. So I kind of like the call there from the Snowy Desert guys to do this. We'll see how it changes the balance of the trucks. I know a few drivers have talked about it to me this week that, especially following people, the truck was very, very tight, but it could get a little bit loose off the exit of 2 and 4. So I'm interested to see how this is going to affect the balance. Will this make the truck turn better, or will it make those exits that much worse?
I'm curious on the thoughts on the 15, as Vincent Sora has been the dominator, now going to be stuck in traffic. What is Vinny feeling for himself? Let's see if we can cue up that 15 machine. Vincent Sora, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. You got us?
I hear you guys.
Well, Vinny, you've been dominating this race so far here tonight. Going to be now stuck in traffic for this restart. What's the confidence level here tonight?
It's really good because I feel like I definitely have the winning truck. Now it just comes down to how many more yellows we get and if I can navigate these guys ahead of me the way I'd like to. I think it's going to be pretty stressful here the last 100 laps, but as long as I can get around these guys and everything goes my way, then I think I'll be pretty much set here. But hopefully I'll be able to talk to you guys again here in about, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Hey, we're open for it. Vinny, good luck on this restart. We hope to talk to you later on tonight.
Thank you guys. Have a good one. Enjoy.
You too, as that's going to be Vincent Sora from Cochran Sora Racing, as well as going to be partnered up with Danny Cochran and Cedric Hunter, as he'll be starting second car on the inside. As Justin Smith, going to be the lead driver into the restart zone, takes an early jump, and it's actually going to be side by side between Smith and Cochran, as Vincent Sora throwing it down 3 wide into turn number 1. You want action? Vincent Sora's going to give it to you. It's the 15's extra grip works out. 4 tires versus 2, but Crawford keeps the lead.
Crawford able to keep the lead. He's going to be able to throw it down into 3 and actually cover off the 15. So we haven't seen the 15 be stuck behind someone tonight. First time for Vincent Sora experiencing that dirty air.
And now going to be in that dirty air, but for how long? And will Vincent Sora be patient enough to wait? Because Justin Campbell has not been in this situation either of having a chance to maybe use another driver to get by Vincent Sora as the 6 machine continues to fall back. Christopher Norris now going to be advancing forward, as well as Ollie Fonseca. John Force trying to get by the lone 6 machine on the oldest tires of anyone else out on track. And right now, it is all Nick Crawford and Vincent Sora battling for the lead.
That it is. Nick Crawford there, very close to contact with Vincent Sora there through the entry. Was kind of not closing the door, but slightly closing the door. He kind of half closed it, and that can get you in trouble sometimes. It's actually almost contact from those 2 up front, as those 2 tires. We'll see how they hold on, Sam. I think right now, if you're Vincent Sora, you know that you have 2, you got to go for it.
You got to go for it. You got to use up the rubber that you have. Also, report of Noah Steele calling it a night for the 8 machine. Too much damage, too many laps down. And the night is over. It's trouble on the back stretch. It's going to be the 73 of Justin Malarkey going sideways with oncoming traffic. Not a big pileup, but you can see that right side damage on the 73. That will bring out another quick yellow as we are on lap 106.
This was just timing of the situation on the exit of the corner here, involving that 73, like you said, a Malarkey, the 7 to Cedric Hunter, and the 20 of Thornock. So coming off the exit of 2 here, you see Cedric Hunter on the door of the 73. He's actually going to catch the 20 at the exit and kind of have to check up to not hit the 20. From there, I think the 73 of Malarkey doesn't know that Cedric Hunter's, down a lane from the 20 there. He comes up thinking it's just too wide, and they make contact, and that's going to bring out that yellow there as it turns to 73 across Cedric Hunter's nose.
That's going to bring out another caution here tonight, as both drivers going to be going into pit road from Malarkey and Hunter. Another driver going to be having a chance to go into pit road. It's going to be Justin Smith, who I think for the 6, he was hoping for a few more laps to stay green. As is your race report so far here tonight, as we have marched into the second half of the race. 8 cautions have been thrown, as we've also had 6 lead changes with pit strategies, a couple of on-track passes trying to be made, but difficult to be done. And I think right now, Zach, it's been all pit strategies that have actually allowed these changes for the lead.
As it's been pit strategy, because Vincent Sora has been looking lights out. He's now going to have to think about how this is going to work, because with Nick Crawford here being in the first position like this, he's going to be able to pick lanes, and I think you might see him take the outside lane with his teammate Christopher Norris being in 4th, and they might try to time this here to get that 38 to the outside of the 15. If they put trucks in between Vincent Sora and Nick Crawford, that allows Crawford that much more wiggle room to be able to, bring those tires in slowly and not have to overwork those 2 brand new right side tires. So we'll see if they can time this restart well, Sam, but that'll be, I think, the game plan for that Snowy Desert team.
Well, we also have other teammates that are up there. You've got Justin Campbell and Ollie Fonseca. They're going to be trying their best on this restart. And I'm curious on how Ollie Fonseca is feeling about this restart. The 24 going to be starting in 5th place on this restart. Get a sense of what last season's winner of this race is feeling on this upcoming restart. Ollie Fonseca, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, this 24 machine's been up instead of the top 10, top 5 for majority of the night. How are you feeling confidence-wise here this evening?
Not too bad. Kind of wishing it was a night race. Track is just stupid slick and super hot. Tires are getting roasted. It's all just about saving and trying to take advantage of a long run, which we just haven't really gotten yet. So we're just trying to see how this plays out for now.
It's definitely looked pretty tough out there and hot and slick, Ollie, that's for sure, man. And take us through also the dirty air, because we've seen how much track position has been a gain for a few guys. How big is that dirty air being a factor?
I definitely say it's huge. I mean, look at Nick. You know, he's still out front on. I'm pretty sure he took those 2 tires. Norris is still up here. You know, being able to manipulate the air in front of the guy behind you is, you know, that's huge. That just gets them plowing tight or loose one way or the other, and they just can't pull up to you and make a pass. So those 2 are doing a good job of it. Hopefully, we can get around them and get up front.
Well, Ollie, what is your confidence levels for a top 5 finish here tonight? I know you won this race last season. What's that level?
100% on the table, but I want to win, so that's the goal.
Well, I would agree that is always the goal. I hope for the best for you, Ollie. Good luck. We'll send you back to your team.
Thanks, Sam.
As that will be Ollie Fonseca, part of Team FTB. Hope for a good run. Talked about the weather. I mean, the track temp has cooled off a little bit from where it was at back at lap 20, but still 123 degrees track temp. The ambient temperature is going to stay the same at 73. Wind's going to stay the same all throughout the night, but the track temp is what's ebbing and flowing this evening as we get ready for this next launch. It's going to be 90 laps to go as Nick Crawford takes the green, trying to pull away from the likes of Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell, and Christopher Norris.
Big thing there for the 15, clears the 9, doesn't allow him to get to the inside of him, and he'll be able to now fight with this 74 directly ahead of him. Let's see if Vince Sora can try to get himself back to the lead as Christopher Norris fights hard for 3rd with that 9 of Justin Campbell, showing those 2 tires. They're pretty hooked up here, Sam.
They're hooked up, but for how long? These first couple of laps seem to be stable, but once we get 5 laps into a green flag run, that's when we get curious about where are the temps and can those drivers really keep their speed as 74 Nick Crawford continues to stay up front. Vincent Sora, no spot currently to go for a pass, but Christopher Norris for 3rd. He's almost fully cleared and moving forward.
And he is. He looks like he does finally clear, and that 38 is now Vince Sora. Our leader's going to take a look to the inside of Nick Crawford. So they're beating and banging almost off the exit of 2 as Crawford, I mean, put it on his door there, almost on the yellow line. So Crawford right here showing some aggression that we normally don't see.
We don't normally see, but also Vincent Sora is not a normal driver. That is a driver that knows how to get things done for victories. You look back to season 1, this 15 was willing to muscle himself and competition around to get into victory lane. So you might have to use up your doors. You might have to use up your fenders if you want to get into victory lane, get by Vincent Sora. But Sora clear and now trying to pull away.
Excellent pass there from Vincent Sora. No use of any type of extracurricular activity, gets around him nice and easy and just shows the pace that he has there. As you see this battling back here, look at this, Thomas Green breaking his way up into the top 10, battling with Cody Reed here, as now you even got GT Azari right here in the mix, along with LeVar Scott and Joshua Fruit.
Making their way forward, and right now starting to see those 2 tires not working the best at this current time. Christopher Norris did lose that spot to Justin Campbell. Nick Crawford just lost the spot to Vincent Sora. Now Cody Reed, who was up to 6th, is falling now down to 9th place, is seeing the struggles of just trying to limp this truck forward. But Thomas Green, GT Azari, also seeing LeVar Scott. This is great to see from GT Azari, as well as seeing Thomas Green, who started all the way back in 25th place, up to 10th. Great run for the 00 to get back in this fight.
That really is. And now, even the 06 LeVar Scott, who had that contact with the 6 Justin Smith earlier, he's trying to put the pressure on GT Azari here for a top 11 position. But he gets it to the outside wall. Now that might open up the door for Freed. But it looks like he holds on for the time being down here in the 3.
Hold steady. You're trying to take every bump as clean as you can. As this group continues to move forward, other drivers that are behind this group, seeing the 13 machine of Travis Everett back in 14th position, and a great battle for 15 as Dakota Moniz once again under fire in this 5. I think has been passed probably maybe the most, or has had someone trying to get underneath them all race long, and it's currently the 98 of Malik Kuntz, who had a rough start to tonight's race, but now up to 16th position and having the driver with some of the freshest rubber of Justin Smith on their back bumper.
Yeah, Justin Smith trying to make that return back up here after that spin earlier, and he's done a great job of just working the outside groove, and those fresher tires have really been to his avail. Now it's he'll look to the inside of Malik Kuntz, so Justin Smith near the 6, really on the charge.
As his 6 machine showing, hey, these fresh tires are so useful to have. Continues to try to make his way forward and open for a top 15 finish if possible. Tyler Dangler, a driver we haven't talked about at all here tonight, in 19th place, but up 10 spots, decided not to qualify was Tyler, and in a position where he's liking the fact that he's slowly moving forward. He'll take these positions. Currently came into tonight 23rd in points, was tied with the biggest mover in points last week after Watkins Glendon. Right now, not a bad position to be for Tyler Dangler as he continues to just stay out of trouble, but he's got some quick driver behind him as Cedric Hunter, and as well, Anthony Gaudio, Danny Cochran, just a few seconds back behind this.
All these drivers still trying to make their charge back up through after they've had a really rough race after the stage break. It's just went downhill for a lot of those drivers that we talked about being farther back here now. Looks like the 4 of Curtis Preston making the pass there on Malik Kuntz. That'll move him up to 17th, as that'll allow Tyler Dangler to close in on the 98 here, see if he can try to take a look to the inside.
Seeing drivers, how do they want to set up going into turn 3? Some being aggressive into the corner, others taking a little bit of a wider approach, and clean runs as the 19 bounces it high of Tyler Dangler and the Sus truck trying to make this outside groove work as Curtis Preston kind of holding up Malik Kuntz for a quick sec, and also a big slide by the blue number 6. Justin Smith's getting a little bit wiggly up in front of these drivers.
All these drivers are getting a little bit wiggly. I feel like, Sam, this is go time, and everybody pushing that much harder, I feel like, than earlier in this race, just knowing that they haven't had these long runs like they did earlier to really make up the ground. They need to get it done as quick as possible, and right now Dingler trying to make this pass work on the outside, just hasn't been able to get a good enough run yet off the center exit to clear this 98.
Not able to find that run, but this might be the best showing. Off the exit of turn 4, Malik Kuntz slides, wiggles, and there goes Tyler Dangler, moving up to 18th place. A strong pass by the 19, who continues to try to set up to go forward as best as he can. As I'm looking at some of the drivers up ahead inside of our top 5, Justin Campbell has made a move to get by Nick Crawford. Crawford is starting to fall backwards to the likes of Mason Cassidy, and Mason Cassidy, this might be his best run of the season right now for the 17.
Cassidy just has that knack to run good at these short tracks, man. It really seems like this is his bread and butter, so to say. And right now, show him once again, he's been good at short tracks in the past. He's carrying it over here in Richmond. And right now, closing in on Nick Crawford, who been watching a little bit of his lap times, kind of erratic when it comes to the lap times there from the 74. I think those 2 tires, they might be causing a little bit of a looser condition on those drivers who took those.
I mean, look at some of Mason Cassidy's best finishes coming into tonight. Richmond, he was tied with his 2nd best finish with Rockingham at an 8th place. That was back at last season. All his best official ever race was at Talladega, where he finished 7th. But here tonight, trying to aim for a top 5 finish. It could be his first career top 5 finish if he can stay up front. But there obviously are some heavy contenders to watch out for behind him. And, you know, some drivers we haven't talked about as well. 7th place runner currently, it's the 01 of Aaron Kralik. We have not talked about Aaron at all, but he's about to be under a lot of heavy pressure as all the comers and goers are starting to show up here.
And it is. Aaron Kralik, returner back to the league, and good to see him back out on track, having a great run out there tonight right behind that 24 Ali Fonseca. And the one thing I watched with the 01, he's doing a little something different down here in 3 and 4. He's been running up a groove. This time looks like he'll run on the bottom, but he's been exploring a little bit, and people every now and then he's finding some pace.
I mean, when you have a driver that feels like they're searching, that either means they want to get by the driver ahead of them, or they're really feeling like they don't have any speed at all to work with, and they kind of feel like they're stalling out, not like the pressure that's behind them. Kralik at this moment having a good run in 7th place, but John Forbes, last season's champion, starting to ink his way forward as quickly as he can, as well as having Cody Reed, his teammate, behind this 11 machine, and Thomas Green all in line. How is this accordion gonna work? This long stretch continues to stay together, but you can just tell one checkup, one bad slip up of an entry, this long line is in big trouble in an instant.
Yeah, it just takes one, like you said, bad exit, and if Ali stacks up here, and the 01 gets into him, the 11 almost gets into him, and then again, accordion effect down the line that could take out a bunch of good trucks right here battling as see Irizarry to the inside of Thomas Green trying to make the move here, and this is going to be the battle for the top 10 spots.
Moving up to 10th, GT Irizarry, every little bit is the 14 as the field continues to try to find their way to stay in line. And Zach, looking at this field, they've, under this stint, majority of the drivers pitted under our last yellow or the one before that. That was 35 laps ago. If we stay clean and green, do you believe that these drivers can make it to the end, or is a pit stop looming for these drivers?
I believe if we stay green here, I think we may be just inside the window to make it. I'm going to have to do a little looking around, see some numbers to find, but I believe, Sam, I think we're going to be close enough just to be right inside the realm of making it to the end of this race here if we do stay green. And if we do get that far, the tires on these trucks are going to be the big thing that's happening, because right now 3 wide, look at this John Forbes to the inside of Kralik, who was looking to the inside of the 24 of Fonseca, who's struggling right now.
Ollie Fonseca talked about just one slip up, and that could be affecting this whole entire train. And it already had one big blip. Everyone keeps it together for now, but allows John Forbes, GT Irizarry, to stay low. Kralik and Cody Reed have to bounce out to that second groove, and this lead into a run. Those tires are feeling the heat. The track temp has risen since when we went green again. Again, last time we looked, when we were pacing a lot, the track temp was at 123 degrees. As Ollie Fonseca and Kralik hold on. Fonseca almost saw himself going into the pit, inside pit wall, as they'll go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. They'll stay 3 wide off the exit. Forbes breaks loose. It's getting chaotic with the track temp just about to creep over to 130 degrees.
It was almost 4 wide, like you said there, Sam. That was as close as you can get to 4 wide at Richmond through the corner, I must say. Even that was spectacular driving from everybody. As Reed is going to come out on the best end of that, is he got about 4 spots out of all that ordeal.
And I think he's a little shocked that he did. Slight contact between Kralik and Reed off the exit of the corner. And Aaron, I mean, all that work for the 01, and he's still stuck in the same spot, and he's willing to continue to put the pressure on the back bumper. But for Ollie Fonseca, still starting to flirt going backwards. Trouble for other drivers, though. It's the 6 of Justin Smith, slid sideways in the grass on the front stretch, but we'll stay green. Trouble as driver goes wide. That's going to be Thomas Green, who's able to get by John Forbes.
Tires are going away, Sam. The 6 of Smith went around. Green trying to hold on it down into 1. I mean, they're all fighting for it off the exit, and you know, if we can stay green, this race is going to get real good in my opinion, because the tires are just starting to really chew away.
And the one driver who's sneakily making his way through all those that are falling apart, it's Joshua Freed in the 39 as driver breaks loose. That's going to be the 06, LeVar Scott. Scott goes wide, going to be given an opportunity for Everett and Moniz to make a pass through. And they continue to wiggle and slide in every corner now. It's just waiting for a yellow flag to be thrown.
I'll tell you what, Sam, I remember, if not correctly, that when you get in the long run here in these trucks, even putting the power down in this straightaway here, especially this back straightaway, is so tough to do. The truck does not want to do it. It gets very, very difficult. 43 laps in, and if we got to go the full distance, it's going to get even worse. So drivers are going to really have to consider maybe even thinking about a pit stop. The thing is, if you pit here, you can go a couple laps down if a yellow comes out.
Well, we also talked to Cody Reed, and Cody even brought it up on the fact that some drivers are shifting into the wall. Going to be LeVar Scott to go to Moniz, and Everett makes slight contact as they go into turn number 3. Woo, they kept it straight, but that should not have stayed the way that they did between the 5 and the 13. But it could be the fact that maybe some drivers are still shifting down into 3rd, and their truck just is not reacting well to that change.
You're very right, Sam. When you downshift like that, you're hopping the rear tires every single time when you make that RPM change. So that right there, hopping, of course, is going to create tire temperature and skipping across the racetrack. And when the tire temperatures build up, that's pretty much what you fight in this tire model currently with iRacing is overall tire temperatures. A lot of times the wear it's important, but it's not the full tell sign. It's really when it comes down to the temperatures. When you see those slides and those drivers, slip and sliding, left to right, that's just overheating every single tire on that truck and only makes those conditions worse.
If we ever seen all that close racing that was inside of our top 15, here is the shot of that battle for 13th, 14th, and 15th. For a quick moment, we also were looking for the battle for the drivers just outside of the top 20. There are pods and groups of drivers that are on top of one another that just are not relenting right now. As we take a look at that of Malik Kuntz in the 98 machine in 19th position. Behind him, he's getting a show in his rearview mirror, as it's Anthony Gaudio as well as Jesse Thornock going to be staying side by side for a quick while, but it's the three of Gaudio still struggling. What a great qualifying run to start the race off, but the three has been going backwards ever since.
Yeah, our season 2 winner just has not looked very strong here when it comes to the race pace tonight. It's just been a struggle overall, and he'll definitely come out here saying, man, something has changed from the last time when I won the race here at this place. So this group's got some great drivers in it, but right now these guys are all struggling outside this top 20.
Now going to be seeing Matthew Greathouse just watching the madness in front of him for the 51. Had a couple of slides earlier in the race, and now watching this third quarter of the race come to a conclusion. About to be starting the final quarter of the race, and drivers are now practically drifting on the entry of the corners when they're getting on the brakes, and it is not comfortable as that battle for 15th rages back on, and it's going to be the 39 of Joshua Freed, Everett side by side as Dakota Moniz working that outside groove, not able to make the pass just yet on LeVar Scott. Scott brushes the wall once again. That wall is being used up by the 06.
It really is. LeVar Scott's had a definite love-hate relationship with that wall. It's helped him a few times, but it's also hurt him a few times also as these guys slip and slide just that much more. Did the math, found the numbers, Sam. We are good on fuel by 3 laps, folks. So we were 3 laps within the window, and that's going to put us about 103 laps, as of running it down to the end. So tires are going to be everything here. Fuel seems like not going to be an issue.
Can they even keep the truck underneath them for the next 53 laps, 52 laps as we progress forward? Vincent Sora up to almost 3 seconds a gap over Justin Campbell. The battling going on, though, for 6th place. You see on screen as the 25 of Cody Reed challenged by the 14 of GT Irizarry, but drivers that are outside of our top 20 and battling for 20, that's probably the best show right now on track, as they were just 3 wide for a quick moment. They're about to be going 3 wide again as they are getting mixy back here, Zach. We're going to see a caution. It's most likely going to come from this group.
You took the words out of my mouth right there, Sam. I tell you, if there's going to be one, it's going to be in this group for sure. Is right here. Talmadge is going to dive to the inside with Kanata sliding up to that outside groove here right behind the 98 of Kuntz. But is Danny Cochran in the 2 who got just past this group? He's trying to scamper away because I think he knows what's coming.
They are trying their best to keep it all together. And I'm also keeping my eye out. If we somehow stay clean and green, this group is going to be caught by the likes of Vincent Sora and the rest of the pack in the next 20 to 30 laps. So if we stay clean and green, this chaotic mess could be a factor that could change up who's winning this race here tonight if Vincent Sora can't get by this cleanly. And like I said, in the next 20 to 30 laps, but Dakota, seeing these drivers continue to move forward, it is just a mess of who can keep their tires underneath them. The heat, the pressure, everyone's trying to hold on. And for some, it has been a complete meltdown. I would say for the 16 of Joshua Kanata, this has been a race that he cannot wait to get away from.
That's for sure. A lot of these guys are going to be saying, man, Richmond was not my place for sure. So they'll have to come back here next time and get it all figured out, but they'll move on to next week where the short tracks continue, Sam, with Legacy Phoenix, and that one could be interesting. Look at Curtis Preston. He's hitting pit road. I think the 4 there, no concerns about fuel. I think this is a call for tires here, just knowing how long this run's going to be and how difficult it's going to be to here. The only concern for me, Sam, for pitting for drivers like this, I just don't think we're going to stay green here. So if you do pit, you're going to go multiple laps down. You better hope you get your laps back before that yellow comes out.
Ollie Fonseca hitting pit road from 9th place into pit road. Gutsy call from the 24. And there is no other top driver that's up inside of our top 10 making that same decision. The 5, Dakota Moniz, might be making the call that he's coming into pit road. There's a couple rattling it off. And I think, Zach, like you said, they're so close on fuel that they might not feel too comfortable. While those that are up front, you could just take it easy knowing that, hey, if a caution does come out, we're in a nice spot if we stay out on track.
You're very right about that. And, you know, we talked about lap traffic being an issue. Vincent Sora, who is getting finally into a little bit of that traffic as he has put Morales now and Justin Smith lap down. If we get some trucks out there on fresh tires, that puts Vincent Sora in a little bit of danger zone too. If someone comes out there and gets around him and kind of rattles his cage a little bit. If you're Justin Campbell, you're 3.5 seconds back. Yes, it's a big gap, but keep what you're doing, because if Vincent Sora does get in traffic here, you never know. He could be involved in a wreck with how much little grip these drivers have, or just be held up that much to allow you to run up to him. So this race is far from over.
As Vincent Sora being passed by drivers that have already made their stops. Also, a driver calling it quits here in the middle of the race. LeVar Scott pulling off the track surface. Wasn't even into pit road, was on the front stretch, and has taken a tow to pit road and then left the server. So the 06 is now officially done for the night, as Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell continue to stay out on course. And drivers that have pitted so far, Ollie Fonseca is back in 25th, Curtis Preston in 27th, Travis Everett in 28th, as well as Max Cost and Tyler Horn all have made their stops so far. Rest of the field still out on track, and for that of Ollie Fonseca, he's 1 lap down, but he still has to work through all the lead lap traffic to even get back onto the lead lap.
You're exactly right. And Vincent Sora right now coming out of 2, Ollie going into 3. So he's got about 3/4 of the track still to make up before he gets that lap finally back. And that's what it seems like. Most of these guys going 1 full lap down, almost 2. And look at this, Campbell coming to pit roads. Interesting calls being made. I think fuel is fine from the numbers I've gotten. But right now, drivers coming to pit road, maybe I'm thinking it's all about tires.
As you can see here, we were going to talk about the weather a little bit closer, but then they kind of went 4 wide for a quick sec. As, again, the ambient temperature not going to be changing here tonight. It's going to stay stable at 78 degrees. Same for the wind. It's heading north. It's the track temp that has been changing throughout the night. The race started at 120. It's risen up to almost 130 degrees on track temp. It's been below 120 just once here tonight, and we had a lot of pace laps going on. But Zach, could it be the fact that maybe this field, after that stage run, after some of the laps, tire wear actually is a lot bigger than what we thought? Maybe there is a worry of someone blowing a tire here late.
It very well could be that. And Sam, we haven't had the most green flag laps. We had a lot of caution laps. That picks the rubber off the track. The rubber, that most of the rubber we lay down. The more rubber we have out there, the less likely the tires
Trouble,
are
front
to...
stretch. It's Eric Kralik and Cody Reed spinning, coming out of turn 4 as the 25 stays high and everyone tries to scatter around them. That changes everything.
Oh, man. That right there, like you said, changes everything. And now the drivers who pitted, they're questioning, why did I do that?
In the 25 and the 01, they've been door banging. They've been hitting one another for the later parts of the last 15 laps, and it finally concludes as Cody Reed trying to let Max Cost go on by, who had fresher tires. It gave an opening for Eric Kralik here going into turn number 3. And that opening allowed these drivers to be side by side, but the exit of the corner, it all goes awry for the 25.
Looks like the 01 gets tight there, washes up into Reed, and for Reed, that is so unfortunate. So he luckily holds the brake there. That just gives a lane for that truck to get by, as well the 4 Curtis Preston. That was close. But man, oh man, Sam, that's tough for Reed, who going to lose out a lot from this, but that is definitely going to hurt a lot of drivers who pit.
It hurts all those drivers that were hoping to stay out, especially for Ollie Fonseca and those others, because I don't believe that Ollie was the first car a lap down, so he's going to be forced to taking a wave around. Unless someone stays out, that could mess all of this up for those drivers that are looking for a wave around.
It very well could. If someone does stay out, that really messes a lot of things up. But already seeing, looks like Mason Cassidy, a 2-tire stop there. Sam, this, with that old of tires, I'm not a fan of that call.
Hey, I mean, we've seen other drivers try some gutsy moves. Why not take that track position? And the reason why, you know, for Mason Cassidy, this could be a great call on the 17's part. We've had so many quick yellows when we were getting close to the end of the stage, when we were getting to the halfway point. We're at the end of the race. This is it. We've got less than 40 laps to go. It's going to be less than 35 when we go green. We're going to be seeing so many drivers bumping and banging coming out of turn number 2. He might have a big enough gap with enough cautions. This might be the best call of the night.
Yeah, I could see it if the left sides had less, man. It's just those 66 laps on left side tires. That left rear, that left front, not going to be in the greatest condition. He's going to have a tough time here, in my opinion. It's going to be a very, very shifted balance, so to say. I would not be surprised if we see him sideways coming off one of these corners.
Who knows? Even going on the start, could we see wheel spin? That is another factor that we could see for the 17. It's going to be a lot of gutsy calls that drivers we knew were going to have to take if they wanted to be in a position to go for a win here tonight and find a way to beat Vincent Sora, who came into tonight as the dominator. Did a lot of similar things that he did back in season 1. Vincent Sora got the pole. He did so here tonight. Led the most laps, which he's done so here tonight. Back in season 1, though, didn't win. That went to Brandon Colley in the 1 machine. Back in season 1, 15's hoping to get redemption here this evening and become the first driver to be a 2-time winner this season and go back-to-back after winning last week at Watkins Glen and kind of flex the muscles of Vincent Sora. Say, it didn't take very long, and I'm back to winning form here this season.
It definitely didn't take too long. And, you know, sim racing is like a bike. You know, well, if you were good at it before, give yourself a couple times of riding it, and you'll be right back like you're a pro at it. And I mean, Vinny personally is one of the best out there, and he's shown again why he's so good. He's picking things up this quickly, and I think that's just a scary sight for the rest of the field.
As drivers now going to be able to take the wave around to get back onto the lead lap. Going to leave us with 27 drivers on the lead lap here, as Vincent Sora and Mason Cassidy going to be your front row. 17 on the inside, going to be your control vehicle on this restart. Rest of the field took 4 tires and fuel until you get outside of our top 20, where Justin Campbell and Ollie Fonseca took 2 tires for themselves as they pitted under green. But for this field up front, who can keep it together? Will it be the 2 tires or the 4? Mason Cassidy on the inside. It's the driver that took 2. Here we go as we're back to green flag racing. They're going to be dead equal down into turn number 1. Cassidy needs a great launch off the exit of turn 1, but Vincent Sora with the fresher tires arches it wide, keeps his foot in the throttle, and Sora is already taking off as they're 3 wide, battling back for 6th place. They keep it together somehow, but it is a mess for 7th.
Yeah, it is. And Cassidy right here not firing off well on the 2 tires. Is still 3 wide here. Kralik in the middle, Forbes on the bottom, Freed up top. Who's going to make it out of this situation alive?
As they continue to stay 3 wide for a whole lap. That is impressive by this group of 3. Everyone else, though, they're seeing a wall. They can't get by this group. You can't force it 4 wide, otherwise you're going to cause a wreck. But Freed on the outside groove keeps it together, keeps his foot in it, and it's Kralik that backs out, and it's the 39 that holds the position.
3 wide for third now as it's Mason Cassidy in the middle of the 17. Contact between him and 74. There goes Thomas Green around and yellows out.
In front of the field, and watch out as everyone starts piling in. They're trying to slow down in time, and a couple do a late tag. But Cody Reed, Green, and others get slightly involved with that one.
Big damage there for Reed. Is this going to be a required damage flag for that 25 machine? Huge hit. And that all started there with just Cassidy is in the 17 struggling here, but I think right here off the exit, I'm not sure if Cassidy got loose or was Crawford who washed up into him. But that's just going to catch out Thomas Green with the 2 below making contact. And that's going to spin that 0-0 around. And look at the drivers trying to make a basic maneuvers. You see Reed, who makes that contact with the inside wall. Kanata to the back of the 0-0. And that's just going to be heavy damage for the 25.
Cody Reed extremely upset over the radio, as he's not happy getting that required damage and getting tagged there late. But making the big moves. As you can see here on Thomas Green, he bounces to the outside, giving it a chance to go 3 wide down to the corner, and there's not much you can do at this point. You're at the mercy of everyone that's going 3 wide. You're trying to give enough space, but small tap there, tries to correct it, but then the rest of the field comes piling in.
damage, like you said, piling in for sure, and just a lot of damage acquired here from a lot of drivers, and gonna be some upset people from this one for sure, Sam. And you know, again, I go back and question again the 17th call there to take the 2 tires. I just don't like that decision by him because, you know, he was in the 2nd position, and I could see if you're farther back, you know, the big track position gain that you could gain here, but he was still having a shot to win this race by starting in 2nd, in my opinion, if you just came off pit road. But now, after all that, the contact, the 2 tires, he's gonna be back in 23rd.
Throw away a chance of a potential good finish, but hey, the night's not over, but it's less than 30 laps to go for the field here tonight. We do have overtime if needed, if we get a caution with less than 5 laps to go. We will head into overtime. We've got 3 attempts if the timing and window lines up properly. But for now, it's Vincent Sora leading the way. Christopher Norris going to be in 2nd. Nick Crawford in 3rd. GT Rosari 4th. Joshua Freed in 5th. John Forbes in 6th. 7th is Aaron Kralik. Danny Cochran has moved up to 8th. Malik Kuntz up to 9th. And 10th place runner, Dakota Moniz. Seeing these drivers swapping around. It's been a wild one on where they've been slotted currently, but Christopher Norris in a pretty comfortable position. I think he's a little bit calmer now that he knows that he's up front with a chance to win here tonight.
Definitely got to be a lot calmer now, especially after all the calls, their 2-tire call that really seemed to work out for them as we got them on the cam. And, you know, these are the times where sometimes you come into the race, you don't feel like you got a good shot at a win, but sometimes things just fall in your lap the right way, and you come out of here with, you know, really, really good run for yourself, and you never know. Something happens with this 15, has a little bobble. We could see this 38 go for it.
Good go for it, but let's see if we can queue up that 38 machine of Christopher Norris as we're about to get our 1 to go marker and see how Norris is feeling on this restart. Christopher Norris, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Oh, we got you on cam as well. Norris, how you feeling up there? You're starting in 2nd. What's the confidence level here with less than 30 laps to go?
To win it, probably about a 2, because I don't think I can beat off Vincent. I mean, he's doing really good job at, you know, fending off the lead and, you know, just keeping himself and pacing around all of us. But I think I might have a chance to get around him here, but how long I can hold him off, I really don't know.
Well, Christopher, you know, restarting here on the outside, how has the outside been here tonight? We've seen a few guys slip up there, but also use it a good event.
Yeah, it's definitely probably the faster lane on the restarts especially. It's just a matter if you can capitalize and make sure the leader doesn't get too far out, or just, the guy ahead of you.
Well, Norris will send you back. Good luck on this restart.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
As that will be your Snowy Desert Racing driver, Christopher Norris, going to be on the outside. Vincent Soares pushing him up, trying to give as much space for the 15 as possible as the base car into pit road. We see the Geico restart zone. It's green flag racing as Vincent Sora fully clear in the battling for 2nd place between Nick Crawford and Christopher Norris down into turn number 1. And that's the perfect restart that Sora needed. But for how long can we keep it clean and green as they exit out of 2?
Here we go, side by side by the teammates here, and look at this ISRC, who's made his way up here into the top 5. Also, does he have a shot to go up here and battle for a win? Looks like Norris going to clear that 74 Nick Crawford. Now he's going to have his opportunities to fight the 15.
Where does Christopher Norris go? Is he willing to use the front bumper of his vehicle and make a little bit of a bump and run on Christopher Norris to Vincent Sora, or do you just settle with where you're at? A couple of bobs and moves in the middle of the pack for 8th place. That was Aaron Kralik that just could not get himself lined up with the rest of the field up on that top side. For now, we're seeing some drivers slowly making their march forward late in this race, heading to 20 laps to go here shortly. Danny Cochran inside of our top 10, up to 7th right now, and slowly trying to move up to 6th.
He's had an up and down night, Sam, but he's making his way through, and he's going to make something out of the night if he can, and that'll at least give him something to rest his laurels on here, as he's going to go to the inside of Freed here now, trying to move himself forward.
Trying to get his way into these top positions. Joshua Freed trying to get one of his best career finishes in the ISRC Truck Series. 7th was his best finish at Talladega last season. Trying to find a way to get even further up is the 39, if possible here, as Danny Cochran continues to put the pressure to this 39 machine, but currently it's all looking to be Vincent Sora up front. Nick Crawford has now made the pass on Christopher Norris. It's all that of the 15, hoping for this race to stay green.
He is definitely hoping for a stay green, but I tell you what, Sam, I don't think it's going to, as they're getting into it back there. Matthew Greathouse into the wall, and yellow flags out as we got 4 cars all around.
all around. It's Mark Morales, Jesse Thornock, Tyler Dangler that find themselves having to do a quick spin as they enter into turn number 3. Well, this mess all starting, it looks, around the 20 of Jesse Thornock and others as they were exiting out of turn number 2. Greathouse spins around, but other drivers pile in late.
That it is. A lot of drivers here are going to pile in late, but it's the Greathouse there, and it's the 73 of Malarkey. Not sure if it comes down across the 20, but that's going to cause the stack up there, and then from there, these drivers are all going to try to get going. Tyler Dingler, Martin Morales, and a little bit of beating banging after it, just trying to get these trucks right at the right way.
And Tyler Dangler locking it down, trying to spin that 19 out before getting into the incident. Accident gives a tap to Mark Morales. As we see another look, Tyler Dangler sees the incident and doesn't think he's going to have enough time to get around, so he just locks it down and then spins out and gives a little tap to Martin there late after they spin out, do a couple of twirls, and there they go, getting moving forward.
That they do, getting moving forward, and no major damage there from anybody. Luckily, no meatball flags or nothing such as that, but definitely some decisions to be made here, Sam. And the decision is, do you come down to pit road to take another set of tires, or do you stay out? I think there's a lot of decision to be made here as we look at our race report for the night.
Well, that will be our 11th caution of the night. That will break the record of 10 that they had back at season 2 at this track. So this field knows cautions were inevitable to happen here at this course. 200 laps, the long race. There were over 34 drivers that took the green here tonight. And Zach, with that many trucks at a short track like Richmond, it's hard to get green flag racing. As we saw, when they finally got spaced out, it was good, clean racing, but then the hot track temp kind of bit everybody and brought out that yellow that took away our long green flag racing. But cautions were known to happen at some point.
Not only were the drivers racing each other out here tonight, they were racing just to survive the racetrack. So, yeah, that's why we got a couple of those yellows in the mid part. I think that we would have stayed green more normally, but it was just drivers really just fighting to even keep the truck straight. So it just showed you how difficult it's been, how hot the racing surface has been, how low grip it's been. But the decision everybody's made is to stay out here, and I'm not too surprised by the decision here because just how much track position matters. But if you do have a few that we did have come down here this last time by, maybe get some tires. If we have a few caution laps here, here and there, we might see a few people try to stay out here late in this race if, others decide to pit.
Travis Everett, Curtis Preston going to be the drivers that came into pit road to get tires. Also Justin Malarkey getting a little bit of repairs and new tires after this caution, as majority of the field already used 3 of their sets. Some still have 1 set left in pit road to utilize, but at this point of the race, don't know how many more times you're going to enter pit road as the field is ready to get back to green flag racing here tonight. Thank you so much for joining with us on your Monday night, watching the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. This is only race number 4 of the season. We got more great racing action coming to you throughout the week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We've got tomorrow night the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, and that's the next gen Cup cars are getting ready for their last race of the regular season to figure out who's making the playoffs. Then on a Wednesday, playoff racing action takes place. WSSR, they're getting excited for the playoff charge. Who's going to be the Season 8 champion? You'll have to watch throughout the next couple of weeks on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it's the Shoney's it's the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, as they are also in the beginning of their season. As for us here on Monday nights, next week going to be at Legacy Phoenix. Do not want to miss it, but for tonight's race, 15, making 14 laps to go on who's winning at Richmond. Vincent Sora, another great launch, but Nick Crawford, Christopher Norris, they roar down into turn number 1.
Vincent Sora, like you said, excellent start for him, but it's going to be side by side from there on back as Crawford, I think, is going to have the run on the outside. But now Christopher Norris, he's going to have to fight off the likes of GT Irizarry, who's going to look to his outside along with John Forbes, who took a look there for a moment. And here comes Danny Cochran trying to break into the top 5.
Danny Cochran trying to work on that inside groove. Was one of the first drivers to figure out that the outside lane is possible to utilize if you want to move forward. But at this late in the game, can the two even get into that second row as Christopher Norris now going to be slotted to try to defend over GT Rosario. Rest of the field, 13 laps to go, and it's grab every position you can as Vincent Sora continues to pull away and really looks untouchable as the 15 with 13, make it 12 laps to go.
He's going to hope to keep it that way. Here is now side by side for that third position. Irizarry to the inside of Christopher Norris, along with Cochran to the inside of Forbes right behind them. Freed trying to battle off Aaron Kralik because everybody fighting for spots. It's going to be Norris holding on to third. But with Irizarry there checking up, that's going to hurt the two of Cochran, who stays side by side with Forbes as they beat and bang off Ford.
Keep it together. That's what the leader, Vincent Sora, is hoping for. Cross those fingers and hope for the best as John Forbes tries to get underneath the 14 of Irizarry. Irizarry slides to wiggle and slide, but the nose not able to get to the quarter panel as John Forbes slots himself into 5th place. Rest of the field, still side-by-side action going on from 8th on back. But the question is, can they keep it clean and green as a couple of drivers have been sent up to the outside wall of Thomas Green. No one going sideways just yet, but Justin Campbell, driver that once at one moment was battling for a chance to win here tonight, he's in the thick of things trying to move forward.
That he is. He's trying to gain back all of what he lost. He was so fast early in the going, made that green flag stop, had to take the wave around, and right now on the charge back as he's up to 8th, and he's got Freed right in front of him, who's, again, like I said, tied with his best run of all time, 7th. So you know Freed's going to be fighting strong for this one.
Trying to make their way forward. Mark Morales Jr. going to have issues, and Dakota Moniz as well, spinning down in front of the field. Talmadge goes into the inside wall, and others stuck to the outside, and there's the late caution. And we're going to be going to around a 5 to a 4 lap shootout here at Richmond.
Oh, man, this is going to set up, I think, a little bit more carnage, Sam. We might see those overtime have to come into play here, but Dakota Moniz, tough break for the 5 there, who's going to be turned on the back straightaway. Unsure what nose he got turned off of. I think it might have been the 3 at Gaudio here, as we're going to go back and look and see exactly how it played out. As this is coming off the 4, the lap before our caution. They're going to go down the front straightaway here with that 5 of Moniz, and I think off the exit here, as Moniz made a little contact with that outside wall getting into the corner, it's going to be the 3 of Gaudio who's going to get into the back bumper of the 5, and from there he's going to bounce off the car on his inside, and that's going to turn him across the nose of the 3, and just multiple drivers involved in that quick yellow.
Yeah, it was, I mean, for Dakota Moniz, he's just trying to get off the corner. Gaudio's trying his best to ramp his way forward, recognizing how many laps are left. You can't afford to kind of lose a good momentum and launch off the corner, and gave the bump, and Dakota did not get succeed on surviving that bump for himself as these drivers continue to try to hold on. Here's another look at it from the bumper of the 5 machine. Again, there's that scrape entering the corner, but center off, Anthony Gaudio just gets the better launch right there, gasses it up right when Dakota wasn't feeling comfortable, and away they go.
And that's when the truck's the most vulnerable and light, is off that corner exit on the transition of the banking to the flat. So any contact there is going to have the worst effect possible. As you see, Moniz just not able to hold onto that truck and kind of just got put right into that outside wall.
As drivers are trying to line up, where do they want to be for this launch? Vincent Sora has been fantastic on these launches. He's been always a car length ahead of 2nd and 3rd place. And if you're Nick Crawford, I mean, it's difficult to figure out the timing, but timing's going to be the big thing here. If the 74 can figure it out, he might have a chance to maybe push Vincent Sora up, cost a little bit of speed. But I feel like that's the only way you're going to beat Vincent Sora, is if you race, quote unquote, maybe a little dirty to get him out of the way.
I'd have to agree with you. He's got so much speed. Crawford was hanging in there and kind of matching him. Was doing a good job, about a 10th or 2 off the back bumper of Crawford of Sora. But for this restart, if you're the 15, keep doing what you're doing, because he's had a gap each time in the one that's allowed him to kind of back up the center and get the good run down back straightaway to have no threat going in the 3. But if Crawford can do it right, can he get the run off a 2? In the 3, he's going to get super aggressive.
As the drivers here getting ready for the 1 to go marker to be given out for the field, most likely going to be a 3 laps to go. as Vincent Soren and Crawford, Christopher Norris, GT Rosari, John Forbes going to be your top 5. We made some picks earlier tonight of who we thought maybe was going to get into victory lane. Zach Hall went with the obvious pick, Vincent Sora. Easy call to make. I went with a little bit more of a gutsier call with Danny Cochran as my pick to choose. And Robert Moyer Jr. went with the absolute underdog pick of all underdog picks, going with Travis Everett. Travis Everett back in 19th place for the 13, but he's had some good shining moments at times being up front. He's going to need a lot more help if he's going to find himself in victory lane, and I think my pick also might need a little bit of help if he's going to get into victory lane. Vincent Sora has been the fast driver. Zach, any final thoughts before we take this launch with 3 to go?
I think he was the obvious pick for sure. Definitely went with the easy one in my book, but we'll see if he can do it. He's got some tough drivers behind him, a past champion and Nick Crawford, and Christopher Norris, he's going to be willing to send him.
The field is set. They're ready to go. With 3 laps to go here tonight at Richmond, the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series is back to green flag racing. And oh no, a little bit of clip of Danny Cochran into John Forbes. Let him spin, spill, and it's going to be the big one in front of the field as they scatter back up the field. Oh no! Hard contact. Malik Koontz lets the car drift back up, and that will bring out the caution.
Oh man, Sam, this right here. Major contact there that brought this one out, and in the restart zone, a little bit of jiggy and back and forth from a few drivers, and caused the contact between the 2 lanes to really come together there, as we see on this replay. And Forbes goes around, and it's going to be carnage from there when we see that.
Watch out for the 11 of John Forbes, the 2 of Danny Cochran, trying to figure out how to get through this restart. I mean, Zach, they were trying their best, but ultimately just one little bit of a jostle can put you in a bad spot, and that's exactly what happened to these drivers.
It really did. You can see here, it was the checkup on the outside with Arizona in the 14 that maybe shoved that 2 down into the 11 who hit the 39 of Freed, who just barely made it through. But look at Malik Koontz there, spun around 360. He's going to go head first into the wall. Guys like Kralik are going to be involved, and just a tough break for a few of them out there who've had some great runs tonight, along with John Forbes.
The Malik Koontz one is probably the most violent of them all. That shot back into the outside wall. He's going to spin, do a 360, gas it up, and then smash into the wall. I think the goal for the 98 there was hope that he was going to pancake and get parallel with the wall and kind of grind on it and get out of the way of other drivers, but he hit a bad angle, shot him back in front of the 4 of Curtis Preston. And just like that, extra damage going to be given to the 4 and others.
Oh, the race is over. Race is over. No green white checkers. I think the server issues that they had might have just caused the race to end here, Sam.
Well, that's awkward. Again, they had server issues setting this server up. They tried about 3 times, and 3rd time was not a charm. Instead, the race will finish under yellow. Vincent Sora is your winner. Awkward timing, but this, we talked about vintage and bringing back a little bit of nostalgia. Well, Zach, back in season 1, they had a similar race like this at Pocono. Hey, we get a little bit of a server issue race for Vincent Sora. It's going to be the victor.
Wow, this is interesting right here. And see the teammates celebrating with their teammate, Vince Sora, who's going to go back-to-back. And, well, I guess I got my pick right.
Gets the pick right. Vincent Sora will be your winner. Nick Crawford will get 2nd. Christopher Norris will get 3rd. And we will figure out who will potentially be our spotlight driver to talk to as we will come back after this. Congratulations to Vincent Sora. We'll be back for the post-race show in a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the poster race show of the ISRC Laria Productions Truck Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Kind of an awkward ending to the way this race went down. Finished under yellow for Vincent Sora as we go down to victory lane. Vinny, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on the win here tonight. Kind of an awkward way for it to end, not the way we predicted it to go down, but still, the victory goes to you. Congratulations on being a back-to-back winner and our first two-time winner of the season.
Yeah, thank you. That was a really good race. I love Richmond. I told you guys last week that I definitely had this one marked down on the calendar, and I was excited for it just because I think, like I said, statistically, it's probably my best track on iRacing, and I think I showed that tonight. I had a lot of speed, and I told Zach I was going to talk to him at the end of the night, and I told you guys I was going to talk to you guys again after about halfway through the race, and I was right. I knew if I had a good qualifying lap, I could probably control and use the clean air to my advantage, and I did just that. I actually didn't think that my lap was going to hold up compared to our practice times, but it ended up being just enough to get me to P1, and from there I just knew that if I use the clean air to my advantage and just ran my race, that I didn't really think that I'd have many fights up at the front just because of how clean air dominant it is. But super awesome. I won't be here next week, so I really wanted to win here again, just to win 2 in a row and leave with a pretty good points gap to have to take my provisional next week. So just really happy, and hopefully when I come back, I can make it 3 in a row.
That we'll have to see. I tell you what, thanks for getting the victory video. I'm glad for the little bit of talk we had before, because I made you my pick tonight and you went out and got it done. So thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you living up to that bargain for me. But like I said, you're not going to be here for Legacy Phoenix, but you'll be back from Milwaukee. But just to get back to like you coming back right now, getting into the league, 2 wins already, man, in the first 4 races. Are you kind of surprised that it's come back this naturally?
Kind of, but just as good as anybody, there's a little quote floating around that sim racing is just like riding a bike. And even though I had a long time off, it's pretty easy to come back and pick it back up. And I feel like actually kind of the mumbles around. A lot of people wrote me off before the season even started. And when I have something to prove, I go out and do it. And I'm going to continue doing that for the rest of the season, hopefully. And I think with the pace that I have right now and the momentum I've got, I think it's a long way away, but I think that, a second championship might be coming for me. Hopefully. Cross our fingers.
Yeah, you might want to be knocking on some wood after that statement, Vinny. But obviously, you're one of the favorites to watch out for. We're now heading to Legacy Phoenix, Milwaukee, and then we got a week off. What is the goal for these next couple of races coming up?
Same thing as always. I just want to have speed to at least be in the top 5, get stage wins, laps led, and just do what I do. Go out and try to control races from the start to the finish and get a lot of points and be the regular season champ, and then go on and get the other one.
Well, we can't wait to see how you perform for the rest of the season. Congratulations on the win, Vinny. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, first and foremost, like always, everybody in the league and all the admins that make this possible, because they had some mess ups tonight and they got a lot of criticism for it, but I can't really fault them because they have a pretty hard job to make this thing run as smoothly as they do every week. So shout out to them. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Shout out to my teammates over here at CSR, Danny Cochran and Cedric Hunter. They had some pretty up and down races, and it started off pretty good for them, and then they got caught up in a couple of wrecks and drove the way back up into the top 10. So super proud of those guys. Super awesome that we all finished in the top 10. And just everybody at home watching, and I think that'll do. Thank you guys.
Well, that will be the 15 machine of Vincent Sora, our first 2-time winner this season, going back to back after Watkins Glen last week and now here tonight at Richmond. Congratulations, Vinny. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too. That's going to be the 15 machine of Vincent Sora, your winner here at Richmond. As we go from victory lane, we head down to second place to the driver that found himself being up front with a chance, maybe need a little bit more help, and maybe an extra restart at the end would have been nice. We've got that of Nick Crawford with us. Nick, get Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on second. How are you feeling after the way that your night went?
Hi guys, I'm just glad to be talking to you guys at the end of tonight. Yeah, I don't know if that a restart would have helped, but Vinny was just really fast. He was able to hold off on the short run. I could get a little bit close, but he was just way too fast. But with all the stuff that went on tonight, I think I was up to 12 incidences. Yeah, I'm just glad to come out with second. But yeah, it was gonna be really hard to get past Vinny.
Definitely would have been pretty hard to get around that 15. Looked pretty strong out there, Nick, but definitely a great, like you said, up and down night for you that ended up finishing well. So take us through your two-tire decision call there, because I think that was really gutsy from you guys, and it seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah, it was pretty good. At first, it was really loose, but I had the benefit of being in the lead. I know some of my teammates also took two, and it was worse in dirty air. But earlier in the run, just kind of looked at tire fall off when we pit. I think we had about a 35 lap run in the beginning, and the left sides were only down to like 98, 97%. So I know we didn't have a lot of laps on those tires, so I went with the right size, and I knew I would have the temperature difference and it'd make it a little squirrely, but I was able to hold on to it and keep track position, especially after that wreck. That's all I was really hoping for.
I mean, you kept it together, Nick, coming away with second here tonight. A pretty solid way for your season to start so far. How are you feeling, though, with these upcoming racetracks? Again, this is kind of the start of a tough four-race spree that we're going to, with next week being at Legacy Phoenix, Milwaukee Mile, and then Gateway in a couple weeks after that.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to Phoenix, Legacy Phoenix. I do a lot of pickup cup, and that's one of the main tracks that are on there. So it's a pretty fun track. I'm pretty good at avoiding the wrecks there after pickup cup. But Cody Reed put together a really good paint scheme for the throwback for me. So I'm excited to run that. So I'm looking forward to next week. But I know these upcoming weeks are going to be really good for the teammates. So hopefully we can get one of them up front and get a win, especially Gateway. I think Cody's gonna look for some redemption there, but um, looking forward to it for my teammates. But yeah, those are kind of hard tracks for me. I don't even own Milwaukee Mile, so we'll see how that goes.
We certainly will. Well, Nick, congratulations on second. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours.
As always, I gotta shout out my beautiful wife. She's amazing. Best person in the world. Nobody comes close. Shout out to my teammates. They always help me, whether it's just giving information about their tires or setup changes. Shout out to you guys for running a really good broadcast. And then again, shout out to the admins for putting up the session. I know they had to get some last minute things going on here, and maybe it's best that we didn't have green white checkers. I didn't think it was going to go great there, but yeah, I think that's everyone.
Well, that will be the 74 of Nick Crawford. Congratulations on second place here tonight, and good luck next week at Legacy Phoenix.
Thank you, guys.
That will be Nick Crawford again, having a joyful one in second place. I think he'll take that for himself. And I think another driver that will gladly take a top three finish in third place will be Christopher Norris in the 38 machine. Chris, you're going to come away third here tonight. Not the ending I think a lot of people expected, but still, how are you feeling coming away with third place finish?
A lot going through my mind right now because some things were messed up on the administrator side, but still pretty ecstatic to finish P3. It was definitely a hard battle to fend off everyone behind me throughout, through the end and through the beginning. I knew I didn't really have much of a chance for Vincent. That's why I gave Nick the spot. So I was hoping he could hound him down, but wasn't able to capitalize on that.
Definitely a hard fought battle all night there for your team, Christopher. How's it feel to come out of here, with a good solid top three, especially heading into the races we got coming up? We got definitely some grueler of races, and to start off this short track schedule with a top three, how's that really bode well for you?
Yeah, the short tracks are definitely sometimes my thing. Luckily, it was here tonight. But yeah, we have like 2 more weeks left until an off week. So Phoenix Raceway, Milwaukee Mile is definitely gonna be a battle. Definitely have to practice a good bit for those. But definitely glad to get a P3 here. I think I finished third here as well last season, or whenever we were in Richmond last. So going 3 for 3, I guess you can say. But yeah, so pretty ecstatic I got that finish, and definitely should help me in the Alden points.
Norris, I know we kind of noticed on your truck running a different scheme than usual. What's up with this Norris hit list truck that you've been running here tonight?
Well, you guys have seen it. I've done it. And all the viewers may have seen it. But throughout the seasons, I've wrecked practically everybody out on track due to being a trash bag then and still a bit of a trash bag now. But I just crossed out some names about every single person I managed to wreck, and I guess I may be adding some more if I cause anything. Hopefully not. I'd rather stay clean. I mean, I think it's 0 Eds tonight, so I'm good with that. I kind of ran away from people in case they're trying to wreck me after the race, but I'd like to keep it that way. There is one name that's not crossed out, who I've had some beef with in the past, but I'd be okay to end that.
Well, Norris, still, as we're zooming in, taking a look at your list, a pretty solid night for yourself. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours.
You have to give a shout out to the league. Appreciate the drivers for showing up. I'll be open and honest about it. I apologize for the mess up. There was a mistake with the lead session. So, unfortunate for the viewers, they didn't get to see a exciting green-white checkered finish. They just saw Vincent cross the line on the caution. So, definitely unfortunate for that to happen on the broadcast for you guys, and unfortunate for some drivers that lost some positions with that. But also, shout out to you guys for the amazing broadcast, of course. Hope you guys were able to have a good one, especially with how the weather mixed up and all that kind of stuff. Shout out to my sponsor, Lids, customlids.com or lids.com. Get yourself a custom hat or get yourself a nice hat, like, baseball, football, maybe even some NASCAR stuff. Shout out to my parents, both of them, for watching. Hopefully they saw the finish and enjoyed it. And yeah.
Well, that will be your third place finisher of Christopher Norris. Congratulations, Chris, on this win. Enjoy it and good luck next week at Phoenix.
Thank you.
As we move from third place, we go down to fifth place. We're going to talk to a driver who had one of his best career races here on the ISRC Truck Series side of things. We have Joshua Freed with us. Josh, you come away with fifth place here tonight, your second best finish in your career in the ISRC Truck Series. Probably one of your best overall top to bottom races we've seen you have. How are you feeling after tonight's performance and grabbing a top 5 finish?
Yeah, man, it was a great race. I figured eventually that it was just going to go away like most of my races, and I was just waiting for the moment where either I spun myself out or something happened and I dropped back. But luckily I was able to keep avoiding all those wrecks today. I had a 0x till that very last that caution. I got clipped a little bit, so definitely staying clean helped me a lot today, and it was a lot of fun running up front.
Definitely a great run for you, Joshua, man. It's good to see you get up here into the top 5, especially after the start last 2 weeks being outside the top 20. And really with short tracks coming up, do you think this kind of is a good sign for you coming up, man? Because a good run here tonight could bode well for, Phoenix, Milwaukee, and Gateway.
Yeah, it definitely feels good. Give me a little more confidence going forward that, I can stay up here with these guys. Definitely just got to try and avoid a lot of the carnage, keeping clean early in the race was definitely great to come to the second half after the stage, to have that track position and then be able to, race my race in that long green flag run was super helpful. So if I can get a couple of things go my way, those next 2 races, maybe same thing can happen.
I mean, Joshua, we've seen you be racing in this league from the beginning to now. What is something about this season and season 6 are you hoping to grab, or what is a goal of yours for this season?
Maybe just string a couple more, top 5, top 10s around. I don't really practice much, don't have much time. I kind of just the guy who joins the session before the race, don't really spend much time beforehand. So I don't really have a lot of expectations to run up front too much. But, if I can do a better job this year of staying clean and, staying closer to the front before the stage might help me string some good runs together.
Well, we're hoping for those runs to continue on, Joshua. Before we officially let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
I just want to thank the admins and you guys for running a great league. I've been here since the beginning, so I've seen a lot of the ups and downs, but this is the best league I've been in, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, that will be the 39 machine of Joshua Freed coming away with a 5th place finish and your biggest mover from where they qualified here tonight, up 29 positions. Congratulations on a fabulous finish here, Joshua. Enjoy it and good luck next week at Phoenix.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
As we move on from interviews, we get ourselves to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight. What a run for some of the drivers that really needed a good run to start their pursuit to head towards a playoff push. It's crazy to think this is only the 4th race in the season, but there's only a total of 11 in the regular season. So these races are going to count very quickly coming to the end as our top runner going to be Vincent Sora here at Richmond. Second will go to Nick Crawford. Christopher Norris will take third. GT Irizarry taking fourth, with Joshua Freed in fifth place. Justin Campbell able to rebound to sixth. Danny Cochran also on another rebound in seventh. Mason Cassidy, gutsy call, kind of backfired. He'll take eighth. Ninth goes to Ollie Fonseca, and finishing out our top 10, it's the 7 of Cedric Hunter.
And as we look through the rest of the leaderboard, definitely some names that stick out that had some tough finishes there coming down to the very end of that race. And one of them sticks out to me. It's got to be John Forbes back in 21st, that 11 machine, right up there fighting for a possible top 5 coming down to the end of this. Gets involved in that last yellow, and it drops him all the way back. Cody Reed back in 24th, also in the 25 machine. Tough night after his contact to that inside wall. And also the Ada Noah Steele finishing all the way back in 33rd. I mean, there's some big names there that finished back far in this group. And like you said, Sam, this regular season is quickly, getting it finished. So, next week we'll be 5 races in, and we'll only have 6 more left. And after the 6th race, you got 5 races left. So it's more races done than not. So it's quickly going to come down to it, and those finishes farther back will definitely add up.
They certainly will add up, and the one thing that's added up already under 4 races, Vincent Sora has not really lost touch to what speed we saw all the way back in season 1. He stepped away for 5 seasons, and now he's back to see what can be carried on for Vincent Sora here tonight, and proving once again is 15, probably the heavy favorite to go for a championship this season. But who else can climb the ladder to try to defeat the 15? We'll have to wait and see. But if you would like to see more great racing action throughout the week, we got you covered. Monday night here for the ISRC Truck Series just concluded. We got more racing action though tomorrow night. Don't want to miss out on it. It's the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, as the next gen cars on Tuesday night are having their last race of the regular season to see who will be the 10 drivers to race for a championship. There's been some shuffling around on who's in and out after last week's race at Rockingham, and there's also been a driver that said he's not going to race for the rest of the season. So the points have gotten a lot closer. The drama will be higher. You don't want to miss out tomorrow night. Then on Wednesday, WSSR Cup Series, those Gen 4s, get ready. It's playoff racing time for the beginning of the Season 8 playoffs. It's going to be a fun one. A lot of competition. No one knows who's going to take the championship in that one. Then on Thursday, it's the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, as their season is still in the beginning formation, kind of like that of the ISRC Truck Series. So still plenty of unknowns as that field is getting ready for more great racing action as well. Plenty of racing action. I know, Zach, you're going to be in the booth for some of these races. You're going to be on track for others. It's going to be a fun week of racing.
That it really is, Sam. This is an exciting time to be in sim racing. Not only here at Freaky Fast, we got our great leagues here coming, like I said, tomorrow night. They're going to be in and out their regular season, trying to see who's going to be fighting for a championship there. On Tuesday nights, it's been great to see BRB coming to the fold. Then, of course, I'll be racing on Wednesday nights at WSSR, trying to go for a championship myself there. It's, like you said, highly competitive. I don't know if you could pick anybody. I mean, there's definitely favorites you could say are there. That could be the guys to beat, but it could really come down to any of those 16 guys who made that. Definitely a heavy hitter list there. Then the open setups on Thursday nights, where it's been amazing racing so far. We've seen some dramatic finishes, such as Iowa. I cannot wait to get to Las Vegas. I think that'll be a fantastic race, of course. And then also just great news in iRacing. We got the new build coming tomorrow. Lots of big things coming in the future, and I'm telling you, I'm just excited for it all.
Yeah, with that knowledge of the iRacing Giant build coming in tomorrow, with rain and a lot of other major updates coming to iRacing, there's a lot of unknowns. So to expect the worst that could be happening. There could be a lot of technical issues tomorrow night. So please be patient with us and all the leagues throughout the rest of this week. If there's any complications that pop up, there's a lot of things on the iRacing backend that we're hoping is working immediately, but they could pop up. So please stay patient with us throughout this week and next week if there are any complications that bubble up from there. But for tonight, thank you so much for joining with us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Zach, any final thoughts for tonight's race before we get ready for next week to see how these drivers can handle the Legacy Phoenix racetrack?
Well, great start to our picks for myself, of course. So congrats to Vince Sora. Really dominant performance that I think shows that he's back and maybe better than ever. So that's kind of scary for the rest of the field, and they'll at least not have to deal with him next week. So we'll see who can go there and try to, break the streak of his 2 in a row there and get the victory done. Because Legacy Phoenix next week is going to be certainly one to learn a lot from, I think, for a lot of us. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm excited to watch it. And if you're out there and you ain't got nothing to do on Monday nights, make sure you tune back in here with us next week.
Next week's going to be a fun one. Do not want to miss out, but if you can't wait until then, well, we got plenty of racing action again throughout the week. But for tonight, thank you so much for joining with us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall and Robert Moyer Jr. in the background, and everyone else here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us. We cannot wait to show you more racing action on Monday night next week as the drivers go to Legacy Phoenix for the Legacy Art Productions 140. Gonna be a fun one to watch, but if you can't wait until then, you want to see more racing action, we got you covered. 3 more races left this week, but tomorrow night it's gonna be crucial, it's gonna be clutch. It's the BRB Cup Series heading to Homestead to see who's making the playoffs. Don't want to miss out. That will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.